Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy of the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, Kentucky, Louisville to be specific. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Engelman,
And I'm Blake Wally.
and we're going to give you an episode of the Agree to Disagree show here on the TNAM network. Today's topics are going to be Memphis police showing us the exact opposite of what police departments should be operating. The egg farm fire seems purely coincidental. Trishton Walker never worked at Pfizer, and he did nothing wrong. Damar Hamlin proved conspiracy theorists wrong with his new video. And the MSNBC host has developed myocarditis from a cold. Do you agree or disagree?
All right.
Yeah, that's the best one we've done so far. Good job, Blake. Bravo.
So far, so good.
Yeah, so we should be streaming on all these different platforms. I want to pull up on Facebook, see if it's actually showing that we're live here. It said that it was live now. Steps 1 of 3 completed. Get the word out.
Ooh, all right. I got to see if it's on Twitter here.
Yeah, it says start live video. I'm not trying to start.
I am. Fantastic.
Whoop, turn the volume down.
All
right, cool. Someone type howdy. Right. Make sure that's coming through.
Hello, everybody.
Chat function. Yes. All right, cool. Let's jump into it, shall we?
We're in.
Story number 1. Is this where you do the intro as well? Do you do the next intro?
Yeah. I say
agree or disagree.
How do you do?
Memphis Police Department has showed us the exact opposite way that a police department should be operating. Blake, do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I think given the circumstances of what's happened recently, I'm just going to have to say agree. That's they got some problems to sort out.
They do. And, I've never been a fan going back to the day of Kelly Thomas. I don't know if you remember that police killing on camera. It's hard to, I don't want to get into that game where you start ranking the worst police executions on camera, the worst police murders on camera. Because there's so many. Remember the guy in the hallway that was face down and they told him to get down?
Oh, that was in Arizona, yeah.
Oh, that was so bad. There's so many bad ones. But in this case, I just go back to, you're 5 dudes. You cuff them, you figure it out. Like just get them in cuffs. Like, what are we beating people to death for? This is way dumber than MMA or Dana White's new slap league. That slap league's so stupid. I really hate it. I hate it. It's just, I want to give you a concussion. I hate it. And you know what? Dana White got arrested, or he ended up in he was on camera at a New Year's Eve thing. His wife slapped him and then he slapped her back. And it's like, is this a promotion for your stupid slap league? Dana White, of course, runs the
UFC.
The UFC, yeah, the Ultimate Fighting Championship League. So anyway, I digress, but yeah, this is another case of 5 people. You can't get this guy cuffed and in the back of a car. No, you got to execute him. Luckily, being recorded. I hope we're past the days of police being able to turn these body cameras off. Everything should be recorded all the time. I don't care if you're taking a shit. It should be recorded. You should not be able to turn it off. And you should have to go through a review process. And you shouldn't, people, they should have privacy. Well, okay, then we're not going to release it, but everything should be recorded and you only release stuff that's pertinent to the news. But, it's just like the disappointment from so many people covering this story. Oh, it's too bad all the cops were black. Otherwise, we could have burned cities down and blamed Whitey again. I'm like, is that really the takeaway we're taking from this? Like Ramos and like the guys that killed Kelly Thomas, a white guy, they were Latino. The ones in Minneapolis. I mean, I think you had a scatter shot of the United Colors of Benetton. I think you had an Asian, you had a white, you had there were all sorts of people. Yes, one knee, one neck, but there were a lot of people standing around, and it was all sorts of. And it just. Oh, it's too bad there wasn't a white guy involved, so you couldn't just claim America's an awful racist place against. Why are we addicted to that damn narrative, Blake? That before we even get into the details of it, what's happened to us? Why are some people so addicted to just saying America's evil and they can't wait for an opportunity for a white cop to do something that is objectionable so that it's like, okay, open season, we're gonna go loot the Best Buy. All right, cool, we're gonna go burn down a car lot. Like, what is going on, man? Help me understand how we got to this place in America.
I take a lot of money from our radicals that have a certain agenda, like so he's just kind of poisoning the narrative and getting the right people in there to spread that, so they can better control the future of America, I suppose. We saw that horrible article put out by Van CNN was saying that this is still like somehow racist against, because I guess they started, it's part of that culture, and so now it's Whitey's fault again that this poor guy was beaten by 5 black officers. Do want to say hello to Stephanie and Deborah Pollard, who did post a fantastic, she already said here, is not on the chat overlay yet, but also when we did a show on Friday, she mentioned that because she's based in Memphis, saying that this cop looks like he was perhaps having, or the guy that got beaten was maybe having an affair with the girlfriend or wife of one of these police officers, and that would explain why he was trying to get, because he knew at the very bare minimum he was going to get his kicked. Maybe he's threatened, his life is in danger if he gets thrown into the slammer where nobody can hear him scream. So that was his only chance, was screaming for his mom in the right out in the street like that. And without that street video, I don't know if they would have seen all the body cameras from those cops. So big mess all around.
Yeah, and I know somebody who had a, how do I say this? How do I say this? Um, I know of an incident where the police completely executed a guy. This is a couple decades ago, but it was a known bad guy in the neighborhood. He was causing a lot of problems. And reading your comment here, Deborah, about Memphis takes out its own trash. Um, eh, it was cops that wanted to end this guy. This guy was a menace to the community, and I think they shot him 40 times or something. This was before body cameras and stuff. It was just a hit job. It was an execution, and who knows how long police have been getting away with this shit. I mean, probably forever, right? And I think accountability is the thing that we've all demanded after Kelly Thomas. Um, Kelly Thomas was a known homeless person. He was on and off of meds, but I mean, he was sitting on a park bench. He wasn't violent, and the cop came over, put gloves on, and said, "I'm getting ready to fuck you up," and like they beat him to death, and like the pool of blood expanded out, and he was crying for his mom the whole time, and it was the most, one of the top 10 most disgusting, awful things I've ever seen. And yeah, in Memphis, this guy was calling out for his mother. Like when you kind of know it's happening, like that, you just, I don't know, you cry out for Jesus or your mom, I suppose. But I don't think that America wants judge, jury, and executioner to be the cop. The cop is supposed to just be a mid-level person that fulfills a task, completes a duty, and that duty is to put him in the back of a cop car, take him to the station, and get booked. We're not asking people to go out there and be judge, jury, and executioner. George Floyd, very bad guy, pointing guns into pregnant women's stomachs, strong arm, like. Well, I'm confusing Mike Brown. I didn't use the strong arm phrase there, but George Floyd had a big rap sheet. Bad guy. I don't think anybody is saying you should kill these bad guys per se. We're asking for help to get them into the system, lock them up, and prevent them from harming the community. I know in Los Angeles, the problem we had was they were arresting these people, and even to the point where the guy who was this meth head who showed up in the neighborhood and was terrorizing everybody, stealing anything that wasn't bolted down, burning cars, and fights and gunshots and fires and just everything you could imagine. They arrested the guy multiple times. At one point, they arrested him and he attacked the cops with a hammer. And you know what? The next day, he was back on our streets again, to the point where it starts coming around. You live a place for 15 years and you know people and you listen and you know who's connected and you listen and you make sure you're on the right side of people and that you're a community asset, not a liability. And yeah, I mean, they straight up told me there's a hit on this guy's life. Like they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill him in the street because the system, the cops won't keep him away from us. And everybody was getting terrorized. And there was at least one credible hit taken out on this guy. Like it was very known that he was going to get gunned down. And it's like the people of these communities are begging for help. Now this guy over here, Memphis, totally different situation. It's been several days since the we've had time since the incident. We've had time since the video. What, Blake, walk us through, what do we know about what happened? What led up to the first interaction with the police, him running, what occurred then, and what we're learning afterward? Can you kind of like just paint a quick couple bullet points of what we know about this case? Because like Deborah said, she's hearing things. Okay, well, there's hearsay, conjecture, and as Troy McClure on the Simpsons would say, well, those are kinds of evidence. No, it's not. So like what do we know for certain in this case right now? Because the video was bad. It was very,
I don't.
very
Yeah, I don't know if
disturbing.
all of it's been bad. Well, actually, let me say, the video that they first released wasn't bad. They're like, "Oh my god, guys, brace yourselves. It's going to be graphic. Everyone just chill out." And they show the one guy's body cam footage, and he was like the least involved into it. It seemed like more like he was upset that they pepper sprayed him, and some of it got back on him. It's like, oh, he's got the pepper spray, blah blah blah. But they didn't really show much because he was out in the field, running around on the street. But it was the street cam footage where you really saw everybody wailing on the guy. So I don't know. I don't know if the footage has been released where he was supposedly doing reckless driving, I believe they said at first. But I don't know if that cam footage has been released yet. So we haven't seen it for ourselves. And I do believe somebody contradicted that it wasn't that bad. So it feels like, and I think Deborah Pollard, like without contradicting, I think she might be onto something, because that would explain, because it seemed like, well, why would he go to that much trouble? Like, I don't have a problem with cops, roughing somebody up a bit, especially if they're a repeat offender or if they're a danger to the community, or if they are reckless driving, and then you put everybody's life in danger because you just don't care. So yeah, maybe sometimes some of these guys do deserve to get their ass kicked, but then, if you put that puzzle together, why would he run? Why wouldn't he give up his hands? Why would he stop resisting? Unless they were making it up because this guy was just a threat, having an affair, cheated on, these cops stick together and say, they're kind of their own little tight community. They're almost kind of like their own little mafia of sorts. Perhaps I'm throwing this out there, but let's say one of the guys, his wife was cheating with this other fellow. That would really explain for me why they went to so much trouble to kick his ass. And then they had, I believe, the other first responders that were there. I don't know if it was the fire department or paramedics, somebody that came and they didn't do a good enough job saving him. They've also been cut from the force. So there's a lot of people tied up into this. And I don't know if they thought they could get rid of their body cam footage, or if it's just the not training, or if they've lowered the standards of who can become a cop, or if these guys were possible gang members. There's so much to unpack. But of course, the media wants to focus on, oh, it's cops beating somebody. But then they're running out of, they want it to be, white cops so that they could play the race card.
I mean, they are just, God, they were hoping for another summer of love. Oh my God, I hope you could. I mean, why would any white person ever want to be a cop again? And when all of this, you look at a lot of the high profile police incidents that led to serious injury or death. It's like almost all of these guys are fighting or fleeing the cops. Very rarely do you put your hands up, or okay, and your hands behind your back, get on the ground. Okay, very few people are cuffed and then curb stomped. Usually, it's in the fight where they're not able to get a clean detention of the suspect or the victim, and I mean that's the common denominator. It had this guy been arrested from the jump, and remember George Floyd, nobody saw the second video. Nobody saw the rest of that video with George Floyd. They had him. They had him in the back of the cop car.
Yeah.
And he wiggled his way out the other cop door. He was saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. He had eaten all the fentanyl and he was overdosing. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I got to get on the ground. And he got out and he got on the ground, and that's when they pinned him and held him. He was freaking out. He was overdosing. The knee on the neck certainly looks like an execution, but from the stop when he was in the vehicle, he was already saying, "I can't breathe." He ate his stash. He didn't want to go to jail again. That's what the coroner's report seemed to indicate. So, you know, it's 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 so sickening that these. It's so sickening to see a constant drive for a race war. Is essentially what it is. It's the left wing media like is addicted to it. Um, yeah, and you end up having disgusting thoughts. It's like, oh, thank God these cops were black. What the hell does the color of their skin matter? It doesn't. It shouldn't. It like I said, it didn't matter that Ramos, I believe his name was Ramos, and with Kelly Thomas, who cares that he's Hispanic or that Kelly Thomas was white? It was a human and a human, and we either want cops playing judge, jury, and executioner, or we don't, and we don't. So what do we know? Because the hearsay and conjecture about so and so was sleeping with so and so. It's like, well, whatever. I mean, it sounds like the cop has a beef with his lady, not with this guy. But I
Well,
digress. I-
yeah.
That being said, do we know about lax hiring standards? Do we know like these guys weren't trained properly? Were they on a special, what would they call it, a scorpion unit? Like they were
Yeah.
different kind of unit? Like what do we actually know about those components? Because we're hearing a lot. We're just trying to unpack it.
Right. Yeah. The possibilities of floating around is that they've, or there's people that, as you mentioned, why would they want to do it this when they're constantly on camera under harassment? They're not allowed to kind of do their jobs without fearing that there's going to be problems if they try to somebody too aggressively. So that's one thing. And another thing, they've relaxed the job requirements since they don't have a lot of people applying for the force. They need that security, or some of the good cops might just want to get out. They don't want to deal with the bureaucracy or all the BS. They could be going into private security or what have you. So when you're shorthanded of people to protect the streets, you got to lower the standards of the kind of people that get recruited. So maybe that's one of the explanations for it. Just trying to throw a few things out there.
And I definitely know. I definitely know one cop I've spoken to for many years, um, and he left the force, and it was definitely because of all this stuff. Not Memphis or per se.
Yeah.
It's just this constant. It's a bloodlust from the Democrats and the media and all these these fringe groups, these social rights advocacy group, the Antifa, BLM, like we exist so that we can burn and terrorize communities. It's a bloodlust. It's like it's vampiric. It's an insatiable lust for O positive. Um, it's just gross, man. But I know he left the force. He's like, no, dude, I have had enough. I am not going to end up on the wrong side of a jackpot. I see what's going on. Targets on my back because of the color of my skin. I'm out. I am not. He left. He's not even doing something related to it. He went a totally different direction. He's like, I'm done. I'm tapping out. So like this was a good dude who had good intentions to really help the community, and he was petrified by what he was seeing, and who could blame him? But in this case, obviously, this is they killed this guy. You're not supposed to be killing people unless you're fired upon. It's the Ashley Babbitt thing. This is an unarmed veteran woman. Okay, you want to arrest her for trespass? Do it. You want to shoot her in the neck and kill her? I'm sorry, dude. There needs to be a trial for that. That was not a match of aggression right there. It wasn't. It simply wasn't. Um, so what happened in this case? Who was fired? So most of them, they were all fired, and several have been charged, or they've all been charged
Yeah,
with
I think it's like second degree
second degree.
murder. Yeah, and there's a few other charges that have been thrown around. I don't know, but just on top of it, but I think that really de-escalated the situation, because if like just say if they were all white cops and then they hadn't charged them,
Could you
there would be
imagine?
riots all over the country.
Could you
So they
imagine?
did a good job with that. So
Could you
kudos
imagine?
to
Okay, and I got another one for you,
yeah.
because I'm kind of tired of this shit too. At what point are we going to come to some sort of agreement as a society that whenever you have like a video to release and okay, you better brace and you send out warnings and you bring in National Guard, why aren't we doing this on a Monday? Why doesn't this happen on a Monday to let the air out of the story? Why are we dropping this on a Friday? Whoop, okay, it's the weekend, sun's down. Have a fun couple of days, kids. Why aren't we doing this on Monday afternoon? It, I've been
It's
screaming
still
this for
psychological.
decades.
Yeah, but it's even in like office space. You got to fire people on Friday, never on Mondays. People are angry. They don't want. They come in and they're already. You send them over the edge. But if it's Friday, they're already having a good day. Then it's like, hey, you're fired. Oh, okay. Well, they just don't come back on Monday. But
Yeah, but it's
it
okay.
calm.
Office space, good. All right, good example there. But I mean, when you're talking about the professional looting class, the people that the organizations and God, you see, and even in Atlanta. I mean, we haven't really covered Atlanta, but I'd say it's similar. It's another chance for these organized, the riot class, the riot groups. Have you followed the Atlanta story about what's going on down there?
No, what's the latest over there? I might have had, but I've been a
No, I
very
mean it.
busy man the last week, and I've been moving. So this is kind of yeah,
Yeah,
last
that's
minute. I'm
right. Your
glad to
bar
be
look.
here.
That's right. It looks like you moved. Your bar looks different.
Yeah, I've got more lighting in my new studio. I got a bigger space here. But yeah, isn't that it's pretty cool little background here.
Yeah, you have a
It's a little
different bar
fancy
than last
bar.
time, isn't it? It's different, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought
So
so. No, in Atlanta, it was one of those. They were trying to occupy an area. Police came in to get them out. Somebody from the dipshit community took a pot shot at the cops. Cops shot back and killed the guy. So then they called out all their communist comrades. Let's come down. And so they've been rioting down there. But it's just
that's
like this
right. Yep.
professional looting class. It's just looters for hire. Whether it's
You just look for an
Soros or
excuse to do it. Yeah.
of course. And you
Just-
look at the Brady Bunch lineup. They'll show all the pictures on screen. It's like it just looks like you took an insane asylum and yet you took the lid off and you just dumped them out into the streets. But like the people getting arrested from there, they're like from Washington, they're from Arizona, they're from California, they're from Maine, they're from everywhere but they're from Nashville, they're from everywhere but Atlanta. So somebody's paying these
yeah.
blue-haired nitwits, these face tattoo morons, these mouth-breathing troglodytes. Somebody has them on payroll, and somebody's busting them there. And
Yeah.
I'm getting tired of it, Blake. Like there
What happened
has
in
to be a paper
Minneapolis
trail
with
on these
George
people.
Floyd? It was like, where are all these people? Like nobody recognizes them. It's like, oh, they're out in the streets of Minneapolis, and it's like, who are these guys? Oh, they're being bussed in from Detroit and Chicago. Like, what? You brought these guys to Minneapolis? I mean, yeah, just to burn down buildings, destroy businesses, cause mayhem, start fires, vandalize everything, loot stores. It's terrible. But then
Where's
nobody
the
wants to
paper
go
trail
look
on
into that.
this?
Yeah,
We all want to look into that. If we're not
they
in
should.
the Democrat Party and with the lying legacy propaganda media, we all want that shit to stop. We all want it done.
Yeah, but if the legacy media says anything, they'll be fired. They'll be taken off the air, and they'll never have a job again.
They're already off the air. CNN is selling their Atlanta building. They can't even. Everybody's hemorrhaging viewers and money.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, well, that's good. It finally got back to him after all the years of just pushing nonsense. And that's another one, like, the Russian collusion or whatever, or just these
So
radicalizing, oh, there's no such thing as Antifa. And then they'll sit there and rail on the Proud Boys or whatever. Yeah, they follow the script, they stick to the talking points, or they're gone. But now they are going to, they can get away with it for a few years. But it's finally going to catch up to them, and they're going to implode. We've been waiting years too long, but still, finally, enough's enough, and it's going to be a wake-up call for everybody, and it's going to change the way media is done. And I don't know what the liberal media. Well, CNN's trying to reinvent themselves, so we'll see if they ever get the credibility back. Doubtful, but it need to happen.
I heard CNN. I heard
Yeah.
CNN just hired Bill Maher. They're going to show his show on Fridays now.
Really? Well, that's probably a good idea for them. It's
Bold
better than what they've
move.
had. Better than having Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo and some of those characters. Jim
Stelter.
Acosta. They got some terrible people they've had there for years.
Yeah,
So
but
they
it's
got to
terrible
go Bill
leadership.
Maher.
Like
Yeah.
they're just hiring puppets to read a teleprompter.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, you have to believe these people are all completely complicit, of course, but it's the management. And frankly, Fox is almost unwatchable. Yeah, Tucker and maybe Gutfeld, but like the rest of it, I mean, it's CNN light. It's like they've turned on common sense too. So like, I mean, whatever. Good riddance to bad rubbish. I don't care. Who was that we interviewed? Who was the head of Fox? We
Roger
interviewed the
Ailes.
day.
Roger Ailes.
Yeah. We talked with Roger Ailes, or at least a Roger Ailes lookalike,
Yeah.
at the RNC in 2016. We think it was him, right?
Yeah, unless he staged his death and he's living in the Bahamas or something. But yeah, no, that was him.
That was the day he stepped
Legendary
down.
Roger
We
Ailes
talked with
at the
him.
RNC. Yep.
But I think since 2016, I think since Ailes stepped down, and thank you, I couldn't remember his name for the life of me. I'm like, it's not Rupert Murdoch. What's the name I'm looking for? I think in my old age, I'm having a hard time. I remember my grandmother would always be like, oh, John, Scott, Christopher, Bob, Brian, like whoever she would be talking to, she would come up with your name last. And then she'd turn to the person she just led with, and then she'd say my name and go through all the names and like finally land. So like sometimes I feel like I'm searching for names and I'm like, where I know it's in my Rolodex.
Yeah, he's
Trying to
been
knock
dead a
the
few
cobwebs
years.
out. It
Yeah.
has been. It's been what,
Yeah.
6 years since we talked with Roger Ailes.
But then he
I
died
suppose.
like 4 years ago, I think. It's been a while.
Yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, it hasn't been the same since. But okay, let's put a fork in this one and move on to the next story. But what is next up in Memphis? That there's trials? Is there more investigation? We're hearing all these rumors, and I'm just calling them rumors. I'm not saying anything. I'm not disparaging the dead. I'm not saying that he was doing anything. Just we're hearing things, and we discuss the things we're hearing and try to debunk the bunk and try to back up the things that seem to be valid. We're just waiting on a trial, or do we think more information is starting to like? What does your spidey sense tell you? Like, what do you think comes next here?
Well, yeah, it's going to be the trial, and it's going to be just getting more information, or it's getting that his body cam footage. It's trying to see what led up to the arrest. Like, was he really driving badly? I don't know. So once all that information is there on display, at least kind of the hard parts out of the way. So they arrested the guys. They did their own internal investigation. They've released it to the public. Fortunately, the mayhem was not too bad over the weekend. Could have been far worse. And then we'll see how that plays out. I don't know if they're going to share the information like Deborah's saying, or if they're going to dig in. Is that what happened led up to this? Is it an affair? Or if there's a bad training, or these cops gang members? We'll have to dig that out. But for now, at least, I think that one kind of calmed over, and it's not going to be like the George Floyd thing that just dragged out forever. And it was just this huge, horrible trial that just took up so much of our time and energy through 2020. So
anything to get Trump out
solidarity,
of office.
Yeah,
Non-stop death counter with COVID when CNN was there with Trump, when Trump was there, non-stop Floyd stuff. Every extra city that burned, Kamala Harris was paying your way out of jail, helping, donating to funds to, oh yeah, if you go, oh, we'll take care of you. We'll take care of you. No, we got this. It's so transparent. It's so vile. But I think we all deserve a police force to, keep the predators out, keep the predators from harming the good people in the community. In Los Angeles, they've turned their backs on us. The DAs, the Soros-backed DAs, and it's like they want the inmates running the asylum. And it was one of the main reasons, ultimately, why I fled that failing city and that failing state. It's a shame too. There's a lot to love about being in the middle of so much energy and so much great weather and access and it just. I loved parts of LA, but my God, it became an unbearable hellhole. What did Trump say? A shithole, shithole country, shithole cities. Yeah. I mean, it really did. It really did. The human waste on the streets. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen ladies dropping their pants and taking a crap right on the street in between two cars. Like, this is the new Los Angeles, and it's not the shining beacon on the hill. It's a trash heap. It's
you should have seen Venice Beach at the end. That was
well, Venice has always been kind of sketchy. Venice has always been sketchy.
All right, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair, it's always been a little sketch, but I just think we deserve better. We need cleaner cities. We need cops out there to get the abusers and the predators. We need to keep the predators at bay, and that means you lock them up. It doesn't mean you dump them back on the streets the next day.
I watched an old classic movie that I had never seen just to kind of cross off the bucket list. That was Fletch.
Okay.
And that was part of his thing, is he was an undercover reporter. I think he was working on one of the beaches. I don't know if it was Venice Beach, but then it turns out that the cops are the ones that are at the top selling the drugs or giving the drugs to the people,
Uh,
and they're distributing it. So it's all connected. And that was like 1985 or something. So
well,
it's
that
been
was
going
kind of
on
like
a
at the
long
peak
time.
of Iran Contra, right? Like that was kind of Reagan.
Yeah.
You had all that stuff coming up from Central America, and oh, here we go again. The CIA, the FBI, all the alphabet agencies were right involved with it. Why did crack promulgate in our neighborhoods? It's like, well, they wanted it. They made it happen. They made money off of it. And then they made money arresting the people. And it's just, who cares about collateral damage? You talk about, now I know other people who served in overseas in the Middle East 10 years ago, 15 years, geez, 20 years ago. It's been 22
Since
years,
the
21 years
second
since,
invasion, yeah.
oh my God,
30
Blake,
years since the first
half
one,
our
yeah.
lives ago. It
Yeah.
feels like yesterday. It's so
Remember the
vile,
Gulf
but
War?
like,
Yeah. Back in the
but yeah,
early
I
90s.
know
Yeah.
I had a long conversation with somebody who served, and it was his job to protect the poppy fields, you
Ooh,
know?
yeah. Did a
So
lot of that in Afghanistan. Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
what are we doing? What the hell is anybody doing? Please make it make sense.
Well,
Anyway,
the Taliban was burning down all the opium. That's big. That's a lot of money in that. So we had to go and invade. Like, let's go after Osama bin Laden, our former asset, who was with George Bush, bin
Timothy,
Laden
what
family. What was it?
was it? Timothy
Yeah, Timothy something. I
something.
forget what he had. I forget what his code name was. But yeah, yeah. So he was Osmond. Was it Tim Osmond?
That sounds
I'm
about
pretty
right.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had to just go to Afghanistan and hold their territory for so long. Oh, it turns out that they have tons of resources,
See,
whether
that's
it's
the
opium
problem.
or lithium or mining or yeah, precious minerals, running pipelines. There's all kinds of reasons for us to have been there, but it's all dirty and it's all black market money, and we need it. It's just some of the dirty things that the military industrial complex is capable of if we don't police them, so to
Yeah.
speak.
See, that's I really hate being lied to. I really hate it, and that's the problem with lying. I mean, you lie once, then you lie twice, and now you're like you're painting yourself into a corner. And I mean, you can go to COVID, you can go to the vaccines, you can go to all of these topics, election integrity. It's
Yeah.
like it just when a narrative doesn't add up, when I just hate being lied to, man. Like
I hear
you and
you,
I
yeah, because
wouldn't be
now we got
doing
to do
shows if
this.
we were
Yeah,
just somebody tell me, here's yesterday at 9 a.m. Here's the thing that happened. Some people are saying this, some people are saying that. Evidence showed this, and they're looking into this, and we'll keep you posted for tomorrow. Okay, cool. That's all. Just the facts, Jack. Just the facts, Jack. Like that's all I'm looking for.
stripes.
And
Yeah,
and yeah, no, Stripes and Fletch. We're kind of bringing back some of the classics, but
yeah.
just the facts, Jack. That's all I'm looking for. So anyway, Memphis, praying for peace there, and in police reforms, praying for peace and police reforms, because you cops are monsters if you're just executing people out there. You got to detain them, and any district attorney that is not throwing the book at these violent people that deserve to be behind bars, these career criminals that are just breaking and entering and stealing and robbing and fighting and damaging property. Like, there are bad dudes that need to be in jail, and if any district attorney does not understand that, you've got to recall them, vote them out, repeal whatever the process is legally to remove them instantly. Your cities are crumbling because of it. You need new leadership. And in Memphis, it's isn't this another one of those city situations where it's been all Democrat exclusively from top to bottom for 60 plus years? So it's like, place the
Yeah,
blame
probably.
where it lays.
Yeah, I mean, they did do it in San Francisco. They recalled their DA, which was like, wow. But normally it's the Soros appointed people, and they just do whatever they want. But in San Francisco's case, and even in an extremely liberal place, even with the district, DA taking money from Soros, they were still able to recall him. So the people do they get pushed to a certain point. They do fight back and do something. So we'll see if that trend continues.
I sure hope
Hopefully.
it does. I sure hope it does. You've got to reclaim your cities, guys. I felt like I was living in a cuckoo clock. Like I was managing a classroom full of toddlers who had handguns and were high on PCP and meth. So I had to leave. It's not my circus, not my clowns. I'm out for these reasons. I am out. But
Yeah.
for the love of God, please participate in your local affairs and please make sure that you're not governed by inferior men, especially governed by men and women who will not prosecute the idiots to the fullest extent of the law. Of course, this story wrapping it up, you need better police accountability. These people are not paid to put ass whoopings out there like it's The Rock or Stone Cold on like it's like a Monday
We
night
gotta have a few
wrestling
vigilante cops. I mean, maybe
like
like Dirty
Dexter.
Harry or what's
Okay,
the other
Dirty
one?
Harry. I'm going Dexter. I went really dark, but I guess he's not a
Oh,
cop.
yeah. Okay, I don't know about that.
You get my point. Okay. Well, anyway, more accountability. Praying for.
Okay.
All right.
Career
The
dis-
latest egg farm fire seems purely coincidental, Blake. The latest egg farm fire. And I say latest because there have been several at the point. Do you agree or disagree that this seems purely coincidental?
Disagree.
Oh,
2022 was a huge year for mysterious fires at food facilities and farms and everything. And people were like, what the hell? And so they put
mysterious.
these huge lists together trying to figure this all out. Yeah, it's all over the country, various places. But one of the major things has been, eggs and chickens. And there's, there's avian flu, and some of them had to be destroyed. But there was just way above and beyond. You'd think it was like, the 1850s or some like a long time ago when they just didn't have the right fire codes or the right ventilation or the right technology, or they didn't have enough irrigation, whatever it takes. But it just seems like there's every week or every month there's some kind of major fire going on, and okay, now the price of eggs is going to go up another 50 cents a carton. It's totally crazy. So that was a huge commercial egg farm in Connecticut. It's 100,000 chickens lost, and egg prices are going to explode. That was Hillendale Farms in Bozrah, Connecticut, catching fire Saturday afternoon. And it was so large, it took 100 firefighters to extinguish this whole thing. So it's pretty amazing that it would take 16 crews from all over the counties. That's like the whole state of Connecticut, which is not that big, to rush over and to extinguish this hellacious thing. And poor chickens. I don't think too many were saved. So
Now there have been several others. I don't know if that article you have, does it have a list of the other weird, suspicious ones that happened in the past year? Because I've lost track. It's like once a month, every other month. I mean, there's some
yeah,
major food processing facility. It's almost like, feels sort of, if I were a bad guy and I hated America,
yeah,
wouldn't I be targeting the food production industries across the country? I would if I were a bad guy.
yeah. If you were Bill Gates and you were buying up all your own farms, would you take out your competition? This is like old mafia tactics.
Well, isn't that
Something like that.
exactly that's
Because
what The
he's tried to make
Simpsons.
artificial eggs. He's tried to make artificial eggs. He's, of course, we want to do GMO everything.
The,
And
Si-
yeah,
the
he's
the
buying huge chunks of land.
There was a Simpsons episode where Homer started a company. What was it called? Once again, I'm trying to remember the
Come
name.
back, but
So he started an internet, some sort of company, some computer company, and Bill Gates came by to buy him out. And so they negotiate whatever. He goes, "All right, buy him out, boys." And like his goons come in and like break his computer and like breaking everything. Like that's how he bought him out. Like it's been known for 20 years that Gates and Microsoft There have been accusations that they create their own viruses to then sell you the antivirus. They buy you out by destroying you if you're some sort of threat. It's not like, you know, Google absorbed YouTube, Meta absorbed Instagram. But this is just like, no, I just want to ruin you. I want to crush you and run you out of business type stuff. Like the Simpsons were making jokes about that a long time ago. But yeah, I don't know exactly what's behind this, but there's been a ton of attacks, a ton of coincidences. What is it? I dropped dead of coincidence. All those memes going around. But yeah, I mean, Blake, what are we supposed to make of this? And to what degree are you doing more prepping to have more food at home? Are you getting chickens? Are you growing food? Do you know other people who are doing the same? Because it sure feels like one day, if that power doesn't come on, if one day things are going to change and the internet doesn't work, like where are we going to get? Where's the supply chain? Like, what do we have right around us? Like, are we prepared? Sadly, I don't think so.
No, I agree. I mean, if I had the means, for right now, I'm not in that kind of a position to. We're kind of waiting for the real estate market to come down. I'd love to have my own, backyard, my own private land, yard. Like maybe a lake, catch fish. And of course, yeah, chickens. They're great. I've actually helped raise chickens. I've been on a few ranches in my life, and actually in the last few years, so I've actually, I've collected eggs. I've fed chickens. That they're great. They're great to have for a number of different reasons. Or they can also help with the garden, or you're going after pests, or getting rid of all the bugs around your house. There's a lot of things that chickens do. And of course, one of them is just the free food supply, as they eat these, the free range, and they eat these bugs. They make great eggs and then once they stop laying eggs, you can eat the chickens. So it's a great system. But it seems like they don't. The World Economic Forum and the elites don't like the fact that people are having these cheap, easy sources of protein. We've been too long. They think we're overpopulated, and this is perhaps some sort of maneuver to get us to eat bugs and to have less, and to this kind of crank down on the peasant class. So it's unfortunate, but that it seems like they are trying to sabotage things for their direction. So they want to cull the herd. There's too many stupid people that need to be eliminated, I guess, in their mind, and that may be part of their program. So
Meanwhile, aren't there? There's a lot of countries like Japan who are suffering like really deep problems because they're not replenishing their population. Everybody's aging, and nobody young is coming up to. Like, there's a population problem, and it's the opposite of what we've been told by these radical, lunatic, left-wing teachers unions that are pushing this leftist agenda in the school kids in elementary school, terrorizing these people into, the sky is falling, Chicken Little. Back to chickens again. But it's like it's just constant. It's almost worse than the commies are going to drop a nuke on us terrorism from the 80s. You're just constantly bombarded with this stuff, and you're just terrified to be alive. But yeah, I mean, they've been pushing this overpopulation crap for so long. Humans are the problem. Carbon dioxide is the problem. Well, that's what we exhale. So, I mean, like, it's not a far leap of logic to see where eugenicists and creeps and people are like, no, I'm in the special club. We can kill everybody else, just not us. It reminds me of that Onion article. It was so funny. The headline, it said something like 97% of all people. Maybe it was like New York or something, maybe Los Angeles. We'll call it New York for the sake of telling the story, but like 97% of New York residents want everyone else to take public transportation.
Yeah.
They don't want to take it. They just want everyone else taking it so you can drive down the roads again. And it's like they don't want to eat crickets. They want the steaks. They don't want you to have steaks. They want the steak. Eat some crickets. Eat some bug paste. Chew on some dirt. Okay. Awesome. But anyway, I found it here. The name of Homer Simpson's computer company, it was CompuGlobal HyperMegaNet. CompuGlobal HyperMegaNet. And at the risk of maybe, I want to play the clip. Blake, I want to play a clip. What is it? You can do 10 seconds and then you got to talk. You got to give commentary. How do you play a clip? I know how to share the screen. 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I'll have to break it up once
I
or
think
twice.
30 seconds for like music, like copyrighted music or something like that. Yeah, so
Okay.
she should have at least 10 seconds. So let her
All right,
rip.
I'm going to try to share a
What they would
window.
do is they would demonetize this content. I don't think they can actually pull it. They just say you can't, advertise while you're showing Simpsons clips or what have you.
All right, let's see if I can go to it now. Let's hit share.
See if the volume will work.
Here we go.
Here.
Bill Gates? Billionaire computer nerd?
Hold on, there's a volume issue. You're right.
No, it's great. Yeah.
Did you say the volume? I can't hear it. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it. Oh, you can.
Oh.
Okay.
No, I can't. So here, we'll just press play. Internet for dummies. All right, here we go.
Oh, Bill Gates is here.
Bill Gates? Billionaire computer nerd? Bill Gates? Oh my god, oh my god! Get out of sight, Marge! I don't want this to look like a two-bit operation!
Mr. Simpson?
You don't look so rich.
Don't let the haircut fool you. I'm exceedingly wealthy.
Get a load of the bowl job, Marge.
Your internet ad was brought to my attention, but I can't figure out what, if anything, Compia Global Hyper Meganet does. So rather than risk competing with you, I've decided simply to buy you out.
There you go. Nice reference there. No, now I can't hear you, Brian. So, oh, you're muted. Well, turn you're muted.
Oh
Unmute
yeah,
you.
I'm juggling different.
There you go. Now you just muted yourself again.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm juggling different screens, and I cut it off at 30 seconds. But yeah, this is obviously the setup. Homer started this fake company, and he doesn't even know what he does because he doesn't. Of course, he's Homer. But enter Bill Gates. That was 30 seconds. Now let's play the rest of it. Let's how do I? Here we go. I'll shut myself up and.
Risk competing with you, I've decided simply to buy you out.
This is it, Marge. I poured my heart and soul into this business, and now it's finally paying off. We're rich, richer than astronauts.
Oh, McCoy, you'll queer the deal.
Oh, right. I reluctantly accept your proposal.
Well, everyone always does. Buy 'em out, boys.
Hey, what the hell's going on?
Oh, I didn't get rich by writing a lot of checks.
All righty. Well,
So yeah, the Simpsons have been making jokes about what Bill Gates does with Microsoft. He doesn't compete with them; he buys them out. He destroys them. He ruins them.
Close that.
And you know, I just
high at work.
I'm
Your
seeing
tone
this
matters.
again. Bill
Get rid
Gates.
of the.
Grammarly's advanced
still
tone
running
suggestions
shows
can
here.
help. Because when you write with just the
Oh,
right
it's still
confident
happening.
tone,
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
you
it's
can
still
meet
running.
any
I turned
challenge
it
to
off.
move your project
I
forward.
turned it off.
Just
I didn't see that.
Close the window. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Anyhow.
That's going to. But yeah,
Alright.
it's kind of like back in the day. We had Rockefellers, railroads, stuff like that. There's kind of been it's an
Tesla.
old racket. Yeah, taking over the business by sabotage.
Edison. Yeah, there's a heck of a lot of accusations against this Bill Gates guy. Wasn't it interesting? I liked watching Bill Gates. He watched Novak Djokovic. You saw that? He was he's the one
Tennis
that
player?
refused to. He refused to take the thing. He refused to take that in underneath his skin. He said, "Nah, I'm fine." And so he was banned from competing anywhere for like a year. So then they had like the what was it, Australian Open, and he won it with Bill Gates in attendance. What an awesome story! What a great middle finger. And they got that fat slob Bill Gates. I don't like him. Man. And I just saw another interview with him where he's being grilled about the Epstein stuff again. This is a new one that I just saw making the rounds. Did you happen to see that one?
I know he's been, he was answering questions, and he danced around the Epstein thing because he didn't want to cover that because it's obviously politically embarrassing for him. But he's way too much
really
of a
nervous.
role in our lives. So he needs to go. Buying up our farms, getting people vaccines, acts like he's a big humanitarian, big philanthropist, but he's not. He's a eugenicist, and he's bad news everywhere. But yeah, he's another one of those where he's got enough money, buys everybody off, buys up the media, and they always cover him nicely. But yeah, if we really wanted to change things around, we could just arrest him and Soros and just disregard World Economic Forum and all of their policies, and you would think that the country would be a better place. But here we are, still talking about it years later, and hasn't happened yet.
Buy 'em out, boys.
Yeah.
All right, next story.
Yeah. Oh, what is? That's right. Let's click to the. I'm on the wrong screen myself. Here we go. All right. Agree or disagree? What is?
Walker. He never worked at Pfizer, and he did nothing wrong. Jordan Trishton Walker never worked at Pfizer, and he did nothing wrong. Blake, agree or disagree?
Well, I'm going to disagree with at least definitely with the framing of that question. I'm going to say he definitely worked at Pfizer. May or may not have done something wrong. It certainly appeared to, unless, well, he's definitely going to explain himself, but he didn't handle himself real well when he was confronted on his latest dates that he made on Grindr, which turned out to be an undercover Veritas reporter. And then, of course, got surprised by James O'Keefe at a New York restaurant.
What a
Quite a
name
story.
for a website for an app. Grinder. Like it's a sex app, right? Like it's
For gay
dating
men,
or-
yeah. I believe it's like Tinder for gay men.
Grinder. Okay. Like, all right. But
Why don't you go into a gay bar and ask and say, hey, what's the deal? Why do they call it? Maybe there's an explanation. Maybe they're like, yeah, Brian, it's weird. I love the app, but it's a strange name. I don't know. So
no, I think I get it. I think we're all the grinding. I get the grinding. We're going to name it that? Like, I don't know. Anyway, now I kind of framed the question this way because I did have somebody reach out to me from Pfizer, someone who works there. And the conversation went along the lines of, hey, first off, I love your stuff. Been following you for a long time. Appreciate what you're doing. It's so transparent. However, this Jordan Trishton Walker never worked at Pfizer. I said, you're telling me this guy never worked at Pfizer. So I started pulling things up and sent some information back to this individual. I said, you are aware they scrubbed him from their employee database and it took it off the LinkedIn profile. Like, are you saying all of those were fake? None of those were real? Or did this person only know part of the story where they were told, hey, according to LinkedIn, this person never worked here. And according to our website, this person doesn't work here. And that's what the companies told their employees, like, hey, if you see this story, here's how you should respond to it. Now, maybe it's some of this, some of that, but just like any story, I don't know. I'm willing to consider that aliens exist or aliens don't exist. I'm willing to consider that Jesus Christ was real and he walked the earth and he was a son of God. And I'm willing to consider the fact that he didn't. You have to be willing to consider all sorts of things. So it seems as though I'm not hearing a lot of pushback from Pfizer that this guy exists and worked at the company. And I read their statement and they're like, no. We don't do gain of function, except we do. Limited cases and limited. Okay. Oh, okay. So you do. Then what is the statement directly preceding the one that you just said? What are you doing? Anyway, I digress, but that's kind of why I framed it this way, because somebody directly reached out to me to try to squash the story. And to be fair, this is somebody who this is not a complete stranger. Okay. I'm not going to claim that we're super tight, but there's a history. There's a long time I have known this individual. So just out of nowhere, it was weird that this story was brought up onto my radar. So I'm just putting it out there. Blake, what say you? Where are we at on this story? I saw O'Keefe did something outside of the world headquarters, which was interesting as well.
Oh yeah, it's like a little kind of a publicity thing outside of the Pfizer headquarters to show him. So I guess they were trying to scrub him. So if you worked at Pfizer, maybe you just kind of be internally, the corporation's going to say, no, that guy never worked for us, and you'd just be gaslit. And what are you going to do? You want to work for the company, so you're just going to go along with the with corporate PR is telling you to go with, and they can try to frame it as, I don't know, he was some kind of PR person or some outside consultant or however they want to try to spin this. But yeah, he definitely did spill a lot of potential secrets out there, including testing on animals, which they're not supposed to do. And yeah, it's gain of function, but they called it, I think, forced evolution or something like that. So yeah, they're just trying to massage the language so that it doesn't sound as bad as it really is. But it sounds like they're conjuring up all kinds of things in the lab for potential breakouts, new strains that could happen, and they're making it happen artificially so that they just have the vaccine ready to go in case any of those strains pops out naturally. But with the case of Wuhan, or at least we think, it escaped from there, and you can't really control these things, and they could really come back to bite you. So bad things, and it's just with this new technology, the mRNA, and trying to make a host body create spike proteins to fight. The technology's never been like that before, so a lot of problems. And yeah, this guy was trying to score, probably with his grinder dates, and told all of this stuff on candid camera, and now they're desperately trying to spin it. First they ignored it, then they're just attacking the messenger. And so that's why O'Keefe, I guess, is coming out with the big billboard on the truck to show the Trishton Walker or whatever, Pfizer director, research development, and saying, yeah, you can't hide from this. This was a real thing. So how are you going to respond? They don't want to respond. The media is not responding. So it's a PR nightmare for them, and they don't know what to do. And then they're trying to throw, hey, look over here, Memphis, or hey, look at this, the Paul Pelosi hammer thing, or look over, whatever story they can think of, but sure as don't look at that, because that's going to be a huge problem if the average person, the people that were forced to take the jabs, I'm not going to want to hear that Pfizer's testing on animals and doing new strains and wants to have a new vaccine every year like the seasonal flu. It's a big business. We've tried to warn people for a long time. There are a lot of these vaccines necessary. I'm not disputing the science, but do we have to have an annual flu vaccine? No, it's up to the individual, but it should never be forced. But,
yeah, you can choose to have intercourse this week if you want. You're not going to do it to me. You're not going to pick my partner. You're not going to determine which position I'm in.
You can pick anybody you want, but it has to be on Grindr, Brian. That's the deal. What'd you rather?
We've jumped the shark. We've officially jumped the shark. Moving from sharks to monkeys. I just wanted to bring this up here. This was something. Now, do you remember this story? There was a highway crash with monkeys in Pennsylvania. She interacted with one and she got sick. These were, now this is from February of 2022, so damn near a 1 year delta. About a year ago, about exactly a year ago. Thank you for that. Damn Delta talk. Kenya Airways. That's hilarious. You got the Obama reference there. Yeah, he's from Kenya, right? That's where he is.
Technically, I think he was born in Hawaii, but his real dad was Frank Marshall Davis, and then they pinned it on
Barack Obama now that's
Sr.,
just
who was in Kenya.
That's just a story, Blake.
It's just one of the stories. Either you believe he's from Kenya and they faked the birth certificate, or you believe he was.
We never saw a birth certificate. We saw a certificate of live birth, which is different. It means what that document states is that on this day, a human was presented to us, and we're documenting that this person is here at this time. It doesn't show where the person was born. That's my understanding. Anyway, but it's just very interesting because these are monkeys. This is she felt queasy. This Michelle Fallon here, antibiotic. I'm trying to scroll down because this was CDC. I wonder if they're even going to put it in here. Ethical treatment of animals, private research. Cats might be inside. Brown fur, weird noise. Monkey hissed at her, and then she felt a mist, and then she got sick.
Foaming at the mouth, and it was
Here we go. 3 of the monkeys escaped after the crash, but were quickly found and humanely euthanized. The CDC said without offering further details. So you got the CDC with these monkeys, and you got this Jordan Tristan, what's his nuts, telling us about how they're pumping. And could you imagine getting infected with something that keeps you from breathing? It's making you sick and achy and fever and vomiting and diarrhea, and you can't keep food down, and you get healed, like, and you get through it and you work through it, only to be reinfected the next day, and you're constantly in that. You know how bad you feel when you're sick, and they're just abusing these monkeys like this, constantly keeping them sick. But this is the CDC. This is Pennsylvania, not far from, where was this guy? Where was the undercover? Was that New
New
York?
York.
Okay.
Pretty much next door.
So I mean, you got these monkeys. This guy's like, oh yeah, we're pumping. There you go, fever, fatigue, cough, diarrhea, vomiting, all this stuff. So they're doing that thing that they were doing with the beagles. Remember that story?
Well, that was pretty awful. Yeah,
it's all awful.
Masks on them, and they were putting some sand flies on them. Yeah,
eaten alive.
Disgusting.
Eaten alive. And I firmly encourage the same type of treatment to the people who are behind the acts of how do you
medical terrorism? I don't know what you want to call that.
Yeah, I am firmly in favor of public execution for when we find out what I think we're going to find out. And all signs seem to be pointing. We're not there yet.
Yep.
Oh, I want vengeance, Blake. There's no turning the other cheek. I mean, the way that, COVID was what COVID was, but the way people got caught up in it, and monoclonal antibodies were kept from people that could have used them. Hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin were withheld from people to the point, and doctors were scared to prescribe them. I mean, people got caught up in that, and people died because of lack of care. And that was the direct result of this campaign, this nonstop, incessant push to take this experimental thing that people didn't want. Well, there were other options, other ways to take care of your health and to bounce back from illness that they were willfully suppressing. They didn't care what type of collateral damage they brought on, as long as it brought them profits. So to hell with all of them. I cannot wait till vengeance occurs. Justice is served. We need more information. We need the trials. It needs to happen already. God, it needs to happen, Blake. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. I cannot express to you the rage. It's in my heart and my soul. Lord, forgive me. I cannot turn the other cheek on this. This is evil, what's been happening. And I'm very curious to see where this Veritas story goes, because the stuff that to be fair though, Blake, I mean, you and I have been on dating sites, maybe not Grindr. I mean, if you are, not that there's anything wrong with it, Blake, no. But we've all been on dating sites. We've all gone on dates before, right? And I mean, to be fair, which of us hasn't talked about, a little bragging, a little boasting to try to, maybe bring somebody back home, maybe come back to my place or something. And what better way to do that? Which one of us has not claimed to be part of a bioweapons company that's terrorizing animals and creating the viruses that we then have the cure for? And it's exactly what happened in Wuhan, despite that fake cover story from Fauci, because he was so responsible, allegedly, according to some people, not me, that it was their malfeasance and their recklessness, like Captain Trips getting out in The Stand with Stephen King's book and movie. They created the virus that escaped their lab, and then they had their cure, and then they made record profits. And how many people died because of it? Like, who among us hasn't at least lied about that to get in bed with somebody, right? Am
exactly,
I right?
Brian. Yeah, we've all done it. We're all guilty of. Yeah,
we all have. I'm just saying.
It always works, right? It's winning formula.
Yeah. So where do we leave this Jordan Trishton Walker story, this Pfizer story, this Project Veritas story? It's out. Now what? Where do we go from here? Like what is next? Are there House investigations now?
Yeah. The Senate is an investigation, and we'll see what happens with that. I know Marco Rubio is doing something. I think Ron Johnson is getting involved. You can sure as bet that Rand Paul will get involved in that. So yeah, they're going to start doing something. And I think I saw something out of like the state of Michigan. There was a bunch of politicians there, like 15 or so, that signed a document. They're going to be asking some of these questions to Pfizer as well. So they are going to be held accountable. I don't know how long this is going to drag out, but the wheels are in motion, and so we'll see what happens from there. But that's good. So another bombshell story by Veritas. They've tried to bury it and cover it up.
Can you tell us the story of when you encountered James O'Keefe back in the day? I remember I didn't join you on this journey. I mean, we've been to Bundy Ranch, we've been to the Capitol on the 6th, and we've been a lot of places. The RNC in 2016 when Trump accepted the nomination speech. We've been in a lot of places. But I didn't follow you to Philadelphia. Tell us that quick version of the story when you encountered him there.
Well, he was in the middle of a publicity stunt when he was trying to rile up all the Bernie Sanders supporters. So the running joke was we were at the DNC 2016 in Philadelphia, Wells Fargo Center, and that was that was your Trump one. That was such an awesome election year. But you had the Hillary camp, Bernie Sanders camp, but you didn't see any Hillary people. There weren't really any supporters. It was your hardcore delegates and, of course, the media people that were running. Outside, everywhere else, it was the huge, passionate Bernie Sanders crowd. And so James O'Keefe was there with Laura Loomer. We didn't know her. That was before she was a known figure. And they were running out trying to rile up the Bernie people by saying that they were pro-Hillary, just to get them to, attack or to taunt or to what have you. And there were a lot of people that did. So that was pretty funny.
Wasn't he wearing short shorts and like they had the bandana on and he was like something for Hillary? Like, I don't know, something like that. It was wacky. I remember that. And you were right there with him. It was like, all right, what is all this about? It's just so funny looking back on these events to see the other characters that show up to it. By the way, a couple of things here.
We have some comments that don't pop up right away.
Yeah, Pat Breeze is saying he's been to the Bunny Ranch also. No, Blake may have been there, but I've been to the Bundy
I've been there.
Ranch.
Yeah, that's true.
BUNDY. The D is for I don't know, whatever. Dastardly? No.
I stood outside of the Bunny Ranch. I did not go in. I thought about going in because I thought maybe I could at least buy some merchandise or something.
Let me be clear. I did not go into the Bunny Ranch. Okay, so I
did live in Las Vegas forever. Pahrump about an hour. I was actually at one point looking for to buy some property out there. So
Pied Piper Postcards Plus said Barry Satoro. Yes, that was one of the names Barry went by. But another good point you brought up here. Did you see the? Actually, give us the graphic. We're gonna. Anything else to add on this story? I think we're good here. We'll go into Blake's takes and we'll kind of wrap it up on a rapid fire. That sound good?
Yeah, we can do something like that. I don't know if that applies. I just kind of like the sports element of it. I'll have to get a few more of those graphics and we'll see what works and what doesn't. And hello, Frankie and Pat and Pied Piper. Great to have you. Sorry, I don't have the overlay up. When the overlay's on, nobody talks, and then when I take it down,
I know every time
I can't see it. So,
well, Pied Piper's saying, did you see that Biden is suddenly going to end COVID? And I read it too. That Biden's not doing. He can't even pull up his own diapers. Stop it. He's weekend at Bernie's. He's just being. Biden's not doing anything. Like enough. Did you see the Biden's handlers? I'm just going to clean that up for you. Did you see that Biden's handlers are suddenly going to end COVID mandates in May 11th, by the way? His handlers must know something is about to drop soon. Did you hear that story today, Blake? What are we waiting until May for, by the way?
Yeah, because people were joking about it like, oh, I thought it was already done by now, or it's done in some of the small towns, but some of the big cities still have these guidelines in place, but they're supposedly going to, say it's over in May, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm sure they'll find something in May by then, or there's going to be some new strain or new reason why they have to continue a little bit longer. But yeah, it's kind of that feel-good story. But who knows? Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that's dropping, and they're always distracting or changing the subject of the story. So
Yeah, maybe the grid will be
yeah.
down by then. Maybe there'll be another, something else.
Sigma strain or something. Yes.
Dr. Jekyll saying that Biden's only Pinocchio with a hand shoved up his backside, working the lies. All right, fair. But yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I mean, come on. You don't end something 4 months from now. You either do it or you don't. They're stalling for something. If you're gonna end it, you end it. It reminds me of like, oh, we'll finally tell you who really killed Kennedy in 50 years. 50 years comes up. Let's make it another 10 years. Some of those people's kids are in positions of power. Let's push it off indefinitely. It's like, shut up. Just say the thing. We've been waiting how long on the Ghislaine Maxwell information? How long have we been waiting there? Epstein?
Yeah, a couple years.
Couple years?
At least a year. Yeah, maybe
These
two.
dirtbags, man. These dirtbags. Anyway, yeah. So I digress. Lightning round here. This is one that we had discussed.
Well, there was
agree or
another
disagree?
one, right? With the speaking of the COVID one, just a quick
Oh.
follow-up. Don't matter.
Go to that one.
Yeah, just because we're talking about the jab,
Okay.
went from Pfizer. We'll segue right into this one because I don't even know if I can run this. Actually, maybe I'll send you the link because you were able to play the volume, right? This would be news. You don't have to shut it down. Or I can hang it with, I'll just mute how you got it to work.
Yeah,
So
so
let
I went to share screen, but I didn't share my entire screen where you get like that infinity window of death where people can see what tabs you have open. Click on the
Okay.
Chrome tab or whatever.
All right, well,
I
maybe
don't know.
I'll send you the link if I can do it. And
It's
you can
easy to
try
do.
playing her.
I'll play her. So I gotta
Yeah.
have a high-pitched voice? You want me to play her?
Yeah, absolutely. This MSNBC host, she said she got a cold and she got myocarditis. So it's very disturbing.
Let's see if I
But,
can copy.
We'll have to do it. Yeah,
link in a
agree to
new tab.
disagree. Yeah. And
Also
then Dr. Jekyll, 19-year-old female swim instructor. I also have a story about a 23-year-old Arizona swimmer, Ty Wells. There's been a few. It's almost every day. Young athlete, or it could be anybody under the age of 50 that should not get sick. You would think, or not, it shouldn't die suddenly anyway. Shouldn't have a massive heart attack, stroke, peak athlete. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
So
these
this
were,
lady, there's
these were very
Yasmin
rare.
Vosafian, I will say. I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced. Who, made an announcement on her show. And she's also a great athlete, but you can hear, we'll see if we can get the volume to play. So go ahead and roll that when you get a chance.
Oh, you're saying this girl's an athlete?
Yeah.
All right, let's.
Well, I have been dealing with a little bit of a health scare. On December 20th, I began to feel chest pains, and they waxed and waned over a period of 10 days. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but as they continued to get worse, I started to think something was actually wrong. It was December 30th when I finally went to an urgent care and was told I had reflux. I didn't really buy it, but I was relieved it wasn't my heart. My body, though, was pretty certain not to believe the reflux. The next day, on December 30th, I woke up with severe pains both in my chest and in my left shoulder, and it was like a tightening in my chest. When I took deep breaths, that got worse when I was laying flat. I knew enough at that moment to understand that it could mean, could is the key word here, that I was having a heart attack, especially because it was happening in the left part of my shoulder. I want to remind you, I run 7 miles 3 to 4 times a week, or I did. I do yoga. I don't eat meat. I don't smoke. I drink occasionally. Not right now, though, because my doctor tells me I can't. Aside from probably not getting enough sleep and working too much, I'm a pretty healthy person. But on that day, I was anything but. My husband drove me to the emergency room, and from there, the nightmare that has been my January began. I was diagnosed with pericarditis, inflammation of the lining of my heart, brought on by a virus, a literal common cold. I also had fluid around my heart that had to be drained, or else it could hinder the beating of my heart. I was hospitalized for 4 nights and transferred from a local hospital to NYU Langone here in New York City. On January 4th, I was finally discharged after doctors drained the fluid around my heart, and I bounced out of the hospital. I couldn't get out of there fast enough with the hopes I was on the mend. But that was not the end. 3 days later, I was readmitted when I felt a flutter in my heart, like a butterfly. It was inside my chest. They determined I had developed myocarditis, inflammation of the actual heart now, the heart muscle. I remember being shepherded through the emergency room and wondering, is this it? It wasn't, thank God. Instead, I spent 5 more days in the hospital where they ran a battery of tests, adjusted my meds, and made sure nothing else was fueling what was happening. And in fact, in the end, it was still just the cold that was doing all of this, that had caused all of this inflammation in and around my heart. Well, I have been dealing.
All right, so I think it cuts off there. Brian, you'll have to unmute your mic, but yeah, we could hear it. I suppose you can hear it once you.
Yeah, I had to watch it on my phone. I can't hear it coming through my headset for some reason. Not entirely certain why that's happening. I got to mute this again.
All right,
We're learning how to run this. I mean, we got 1,000 things plugged in. I got a light here. I got a light there. I got a phone here. I got a screen that, we're all trying to make it work. But so, I mean, this is.
So agree to disagree. Do you think she got myocarditis from her cold?
I've never heard that in my entire life. I've lived a lot of years, and when you talk about being a news junkie, it was probably my 8th grade teacher, Mr. Flaw, who, he would give us, like, there was like we'd have a current events quiz. It might have been every day, and it was just to kind of keep us paying attention. So, this hurricane is headed off, coming in toward North Carolina. What's the name of the hurricane? All you got to do is flip through the news, keep it on, watch a half-hour show. You'll know the big stories. This team just won the World Series or something. Like, oh, okay, yeah, it's the Atlanta Braves or whatever it was. I mean, I've been a news junkie for a long time. I've never heard of myocarditis. I know it's a thing, whatever. But I only started hearing about it when the NCAA players were like, I don't think we should have to take this thing to play sports. We're in good health. No, I've never heard of the common cold causing this. I mean, you've seen how many excuses now? You've seen Lucky Charms causing myocarditis. Yep. You've heard climate change causing I hate being lied to. Eggs, yes.
It's hot weather, cold weather,
yes.
Humid weather. Yes.
Yeah, I hate being lied to, Blake. Yeah. It's all propaganda. It's all fucking bullshit, dude. Like, it's so difficult to, and I can forgive somebody that gets a story wrong as they're trying to figure it out. Hey, I heard this or I read this. Oh, well, it turns out what I read wasn't accurate. Okay, well, I don't know. I'm trying. We're trying to figure this out together.
Thanks, Dr.
But when you're pushing bullshit to us, yeah, hot weather, cold weather, eggs, meat, crickets you'll never hear that crickets caused it. I have a hunch you'll never hear crickets causing myocarditis. But no, I've never heard of this, Blake. I'm not saying it can't happen, but come on. What say you?
Yeah, I agree. And it's sad to see her get on TV and try to say that. And I think she believes it. That's what's so disturbing about it. She believes the propaganda so much. Or she knows that if she says anything, they're going to cut her off and all of her medical benefits are going to be gone.
That part.
Yeah, so.
But then why would they let her tell the story?
I don't know. These people, I think
they're all covering it up. They all want
their own dope. Yeah. They drink their own Kool-Aid. Yeah, they drink their own Kool-Aid and they believe the propaganda as well as dish it out. So, yeah, it's just really sad to hear that she would actually try to make that connection, or maybe her doctors also told that because they don't want to fill out a VAERS report or they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want the CDC calling them or harassing them or to lose their license. I don't know how it all plays together, but something's wrong with that picture. And yeah, I've never heard of anybody. Yeah, cold is just something you get for 5-10 days, get some sniffles, a cough, or those variations, but never permanent heart inflammation and you might be dead within a few years. Because myocarditis, people don't live more than 5 years. You can't have that dead heart muscle. It's a horrible thing, and now it's like a normal thing. That was not in our vernacular a couple years ago. Myocarditis.
No, I would have remembered that phrase, myocarditis, only recently. Only instantly.
Yeah.
Suddenly.
And she sounded like she's a peak athlete. Yeah, we could debate whether vegan's good or not, but yes, if she's running 7 miles,
Vegan's not good.
several days, yeah. So what else would have caused that? And by the way, she's fully vaccinated, so duh. I mean, it seems obvious to the rest of us, but it hasn't quite caught up yet to some of them, and maybe they're just deeply in denial and they don't want to admit that. It's a sad thing to see, but yeah, I'm gonna say that it's probably caused from the jab and not from her cold.
I can't say probably because that's a little too much for me. But I'm not buying that the common cold gave her myocarditis. Nope. Never heard of that. Not buying it. Prove me wrong. Type it in the comments. Educate me. Learn me something today. Okay, next Blake's takes.
Oh, what do we have? Oh, graphics. Boom. Boy, what else do we have to cover today?
Read the screen. It's right in front of you.
The last one. Oh, is 68. The Damar Hamlin proved conspiracy theories wrong with the new video.
Yes, 2 stories left.
That picture pulled up, but he finally allegedly made an appearance. He was speaking, little like a recorded interview. He seemed fine. He was, said the right things and thanked everybody. He didn't address any of the conspiracy theories or anything like that, which is okay. But people did notice, and Mike Barrett, the host on this was showing that his right arm. They're comparing that there's no tattoos on him. So you probably pull up. Got it posted somewhere. That's the only thing I did not have ready for the show prep, but I will send you this link here in a second. So Brian, I don't know if you had a chance to see that interview where
I watched
took a few minutes.
I watched a clip of it.
Yeah,
I watched a little bit of it.
Okay,
but now so here's now as I'm looking at it, you can see my cursor. I see a circle here, and there's a circle here, right? That's his right arm.
It could have been the lighting. Yep.
So I see a circle right there.
Okay.
I mean, can you maybe see that as
vaguely,
well?
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not.
I don't know what this stuff is. This stick figure stuff. This hieroglyphic. Whoa. What happened? What? Okay, that was weird. I can't see this stuff, but it is shaded. It's dark right here. This whole area is dark.
Right, and it could just be the lighting that they set up the interview. It could be a coincidence. I'm not, entirely sure.
Here's the comment. Hamlin's clone or body double gonna have to spend a few days getting some ink done. They forgot the CGI tattoos. Okay. Here we're gonna.
It could have been if they rushed to it and they forgot to add that detail or didn't notice, maybe. So,
but wouldn't a clone just be a clone? You make a photocopy of a photocopy and you got the copy. Like you're not gonna white things out on the copy on the original before you make the copy. Like you'd have to go out of your way to erase that. Or you're saying the clone, like the tattoo, wouldn't be a part of the genetic material, so you'd have to add that. And if you made some mistake in adding that. I don't.
Yeah, because you can't fake that, right? Like if you have a clone, you can't make them come out with the tattoo because it's not a natural part of the body. What if you had the clone program before they got the tattoo, or do you add it in later? But then you can't really add it later and make it look believable. So
what is the suggestion? The suggestion is that he died on the field. And because he's a young, healthy athlete who took the thing, they don't want the bad publicity to come out. So they just kind of keep him sequestered for a couple of days. Now, they said the coach went there that night, right? I think they said that the Bills coach went to the hospital to be there with him.
Sean McDermott went to Cincinnati Hospital and checked in on him. I'm sure he did.
And then, it was just, if you don't want to, if you don't want crap like this coming up on your timeline or like entering the internet conspiracy realm, and by the way, we want to talk conspiracy. How about the nonstop Russian collusion crap so that you can go to a war with a nuclear superpower in Ukraine? How about like if we're going to call it conspiracy, let's talk about the deep state conspiracy to bomb Russia. They've had a hard on for bombing Russia, and they've been blaming Trump for Russia. They've been using it as a red herring, a scapegoat for 6 years now. They are just intent on taking Russia out, so they keep blaming Trump for everything. And the people who are accusing Trump of being in bed with Russia, they're the ones who are getting you saw that story. We didn't cover that one yet, but a guy who was part of the Trump-Russian collusion, fake story, investigation with their propaganda, their attempt to throw a coup and unseat a duly elected American president. Let's call it what it is. That guy was arrested for colluding with a sanctioned Russian oligarch, like just last week. So if we're going to call conspiracy theories, I think the alphabet agencies are the number one conspiracy theory promulgators on the planet. People like us, Blake, we see what we see and we ask questions. That's it. Yeah. And when they had the big reveal with Damar Hamlin, his face was, he was.
Yep.
You get it. It's a hoodie. It was supposed to go over my head. It didn't work so well.
All right.
Great prop, Brian. But his head was covered up and he wouldn't show his face and he didn't say anything. I said this in the last show. In television, that's like the crown jewel, the moment you get those teams rematching just a couple of weeks later. If you don't want to go to him live, maybe there's some cognitive, maybe there's some issues, and maybe he's not quite back to where he needs to be. You at least get him on camera. Look, Damar, we'll get as many takes as you like, 100 takes, 200 takes. And you have the right to look at it and tell us, give us a thumbs up if it's okay. But we just want you to say, hey, I want to thank everybody for your support. I'm continuing my work to get healthy. Go Bills. That's it. One sentence, 2 commas, done. They didn't even give us that. So the fact that they didn't give us that, and everybody, that's the money shot. That's what everybody wanted. That was the end of the scene. That was like it's drama. It's television. Like, you need that shot. They wouldn't even show his face. And you can't claim that something was particularly devious or misleading. They were obfuscating something or trying to hide something or cover something up because they took the picture of him in that suite, but you couldn't see it because it was a snow out. It was a whiteout. It was a blizzard. It was just, you couldn't see. But why is there not a camera inside of there?
Well, there was at one point,
inside there.
But it showed him kind of from the distance looking outside, but it just showed him from the side. You couldn't see anything. And he was wearing a mask. It was like, why is he standing in front of the glass?
Why is he wearing a mask?
Yeah.
What's he wearing a mask for?
Exactly. That's why everybody freaked out and started raising conspiracy theories, because we didn't believe that it was him. And I don't believe that it was him, regardless. So maybe this last interview that was him, and I hope it was. I hope he's okay.
So you're saying your gut tells you that during that playoff game he wasn't ready and that wasn't him.
Yeah, if I was going to go into the conspiracy theory, yeah, and the one where he advertises clone, where he's doing his merchandise pitch or whatever in the brick wall, and they painted it, and he wore 2 different outfits, but he still had the mask for no reason, because it's not 2020 when everybody has to wear a mask, so that didn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm saying that was a body double, or I don't want to go too far off the rails with the woo-woo clone stuff. It could be. Who knows? I don't know what kind of technology is out there. But there's nothing convincing that was really Damar Hamlin at the stadium or in front of the wall in front of the painting. So the interview looked believable. But then when you look at the arm, maybe that's a tattoo. Maybe it's not. I don't want to go too far into the saying, oh, it's definitely a clone. But yeah, why can't you see his face on that? Why can't he do
this?
The same
is what
thing?
They are putting out. This is
that?
what he put out on his own social media feed. And come on, and here's the gaslighting bullshit of all. Look at what this SB Nation. Here, see what it says at the top here. The stupidest people are spreading a terrible. This is like written by a fourth grader. This is so slanted, biased, and such an awful headline. But what else would you expect? The stupidest people are spreading a terrible Damar Hamlin clone conspiracy. Do you still have that screen, or did I have to reset it?
I can see it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot. I don't know. I need a second screen so I can navigate and see the studio. The stupidest people are spreading a terrible Damar Hamlin clone conspiracy theory. Okay, let's break this down. Clone conspiracy theory. He did that. He posted this. He put one word. What's the one word? The stupidest people. The one word is clone. He did that. It's like I can't stand the people that piss on your leg and tell you it's raining. Oh, you're so stupid for wondering what's going on here. When he did the thing that we're all talking about. That's him. That's not us. That's on him. So he started all this crap. I'm never going to be ashamed for having questions and reservations and or for a lack of belief that I'm not really seeing something that I'm seeing. If how could you not discuss that after looking at that? You're like, what the hell is going on? Why would he release something that says clone? Why would they hide his? They went to great lengths to hide his face and not hear his voice during that. Is this a marketing thing? Like Dana White getting slapped by his wife and then slapping her back to launch a slap league? That's on the same level of stupid. Like that's right up at the same level as stupid to put out something like clone when everybody's, concerned. Like, bro, we haven't seen you. Can I get proof of life? Like, no, man, I'm here. Look, here's my post. Clone. Oh, fuck you. Come on. Screw you, dude. Like, come on. He did that. He did that and his team did that. We're not crazy. We're not brings out the stupidest people. Conspiracy. Come on. They did that and we're talking about it.
Right. Yeah, the stupid people are the ones that aren't raising questions, ones that are not bright enough to put together all the facts and information and have the balls to put out a different narrative that the mainstream media is pushing out. And that's kind of what I would say from that. So, yeah, if he puts all that out in the clone thing, then, yeah, people are going to raise questions. They didn't show his face. It was not clear. You didn't hear his voice. And whether people are stupid for questioning? No. People are stupid for complying. So that's
by the way, I figured something out here. Pied Piper Postcards Plus. I know Pied Piper. I have dined with Pied Piper. And Blake, you are no Pied Piper. What was that one about? I know or John Kennedy. And you, sir, are no John Kennedy. Or whatever that was. Right. Anyway, so he commented in here, Damar Hamlin may be alive, but they're still covering up that the heart issue was probably caused by the jab. Okay. I mean, anybody want to fight us on that? I mean, he's a young, healthy athlete. Have we ever seen an NFL player die on the field before?
Not in 50, 60 years, something like that.
And if you and I are not 50, 60 years old, we've never seen it. We've been watching for 4+ decades, never seen this before.
No one's ever had a heart attack from getting hit. We've seen some.
And he didn't get hit. He tackled the other guy. It was just a tackle. There was nothing incredibly violent about it. It was just a tackle. These things happen.
People, hurting their necks, getting concussions, stuff
paralyzed,
like that.
Even. But we've seen all of those.
Heart stopping?
Never.
No. Never
seen it before. So was it probably caused by it? I won't use the word probably. And Blake, I err on the side of caution with a lot of these stories. I have questions. When you finally get me on the warpath, like I am on Fauci, justice. Inigo Montoya, he needs justice. There are some things, once I've made up my mind, I'm pretty clear. Still willing to listen to new information, but I'm pretty damn certain he was behind that Wuhan funding and that Wuhan escape, that all of that. And that Pfizer interview kind of sums up and solidifies, okay, well, yeah, they're modifying this in monkeys and they're coming up with the vaccines to stop the thing that they've just created. Well, you're a terrorist, sir. You deserve the worst the most lethal punishment we have in the legal system immediately. Charges, trial, quick and speedy, expeditious execution on pay-per-view even. And maybe the people on I'm just a bit there's something a little wrong with me. I think like child abusers should be executed like with pay-per-view. And I think people like Fauci, if proven to be what
Right.
everything I think he is, you know, I
You
think
keep
if
them
people are
alive to
proven
antagonize
guilty
them? Right.
of violent,
Right.
awful crimes, I think they should be executed on pay-per-view. And I think the funds should go to the people that suffered. You know, so if I think it's well past time for this. We don't need fewer executions. We need more. That's me. That's me. But anyway, so I'm very cautious. I won't say it probably caused by the jab. Possibly, maybe, probably, perhaps, perhaps caused by. I'm gonna hedge my words a little bit because I want to be careful. Once I'm pretty certain of something, I will go 100 miles. Like I am pedal to the metal. Fuck it. Let's just go. Like what am I going to hold back for? What am and I always reserve the right to get new information and change my mind. But yeah, so I don't know that it was probably caused by that, but yeah, something's off. Something's off. Something is still off here. Now he may never play again. That might be obvious, or who knows if what he's trying to do. But you could imagine all these players being terrified, Blake. They all were forced to take this thing. Kyrie Irving, a hero for standing up against. It's called selfish and blasted by ESPN, ABC, Disney, one of the dirtiest, grossest companies out there. Novak Djokovic, in his prime, he was with. They kept him from playing in how many championship tournaments in his prime? All because he said, nope, I'm not doing that. Hero for standing up to that. But all these NFL players, man, they were forced to do it, and they did it. And I think Aaron Rodgers said he pretended to do it, but didn't do. I forget exactly, but there's a couple of players, but mostly
Kirk Cousins wouldn't do it. Was it Beasley? Cole Beasley. There's a few that were outspoken. There's probably a lot of them that didn't and said they did, or they faked the documents, something like that. But a lot of the people, like Damar Hamlin, people that are fringe to get a roster spot, those are the people that really got affected. Because you could get cut from a team by not taking it. So that could be the difference between you making the team or not. So there's a lot of problems with especially with those guys.
Well, documentation came out. It may have been Urban Meyer, which might have been why you saw that picture of him at the bar, with his arm wrapped around some young lady. I think they ran him out of the league. Part of it he probably did to himself, but I think they kind of went after him. I believe it was Urban Meyer who said, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we said, if you're not vaccinated, you're going to get cut. They weren't allowed to say that, but he let it slip. He was too honest. And I think it was just knives out trying to take him out. Just Urban Meyer gone, excommunicated from the NFL because he let it slip. I think it was him. If it wasn't him, it was somebody high profile that was a coach. And they definitely said these players, if they don't get vaccinated, we will cut them. Now, in the collective bargaining agreement, they were not allowed to say that, and they definitely said it because they were all doing it, and they were all saying it behind the scenes. They just didn't want it to leak to the media, but it did leak.
Mike Zimmer was, as a Vikings fan, he was like really angry at Kirk Cousins, and they had to have a special meeting, and so he was trying to rain down because the Vikings were one of the least vaccinated teams, and then I feel bad because Mike Zimmer's son died, and he was only like 40. He was one of the assistant coaches. I'm not saying that it had anything to do with it, or it could have been a coincidence, or it could have been a died suddenly. I'm not sure. But yeah, just depending on the personality of the coach. But it's just a shame on the NFL for putting people in position to do that, to take these experiments, especially with healthy young players. The only people that were ever in danger were people that were, retirement age that have pre-existing conditions. And
I was right. The NFLPA reportedly opened an investigation into the Jaguars' Urban Meyer. This was September 1st, 2021, who said that the vaccine statuses influenced their roster cuts. When the Jaguars trimmed the roster to 53 players on Tuesday, they didn't just take into account off-season performances. According to new coach Urban Meyer, Jacksonville also factored whether or not players were vaccinated for COVID-19 into decisions related to the NFL's cut-down deadline. Now the NFL Players Association has opened an investigation into the situation. Coach, other remarks. Do you have a quote? Where's the quote? Ultimately,
Yeah, we educated.
okay, they clarified that comment I'm looking for. But anyway, it's in Sean Payton going to be the Broncos head coach?
Really?
They're okay.
They're
This is
gonna trade
breaking.
some,
I'm sorry. I'll
first
just
round
read
pick. They still have first round picks after giving the farm for Russell Wilson. I'm surprised.
I know. Well, Russell he should be better with a better offensive system. And clear whatever they were doing didn't work, and he was too overthinking everything. A 2023 first round pick and a 2024 second rounder, and a future third. Dude, it's a head coach. Stop it. The guy wants to work. You should have offered him a fifth and a sixth and called it a day. They got fleeced again. Who was making the trades up there? But yeah, anyway, it was Urban Meyer. He said the vaccination stat definitely played a role in it. And Keith here in the pinned messages, he said, Brian, do you recall how worked up people got on the Unhappy Hour? So, by the way, shameless plug. Yeah, shameless plug. On Facebook, go to the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. And that's a sports group that we run, about 2,000 people. We talk sports every single day and have for more than 10 years. But Keith is saying here, Brian, do you recall how worked up people got on the Unhappy Hour group on Facebook because we dared bring up the possibility there might be some sort of a cover-up with Damar Hamlin? How dare we question the media narrative? Exactly.
Well, it's the thing that, no offense to everybody, but sports fans tend to be pretty dumb. I mean, I love my sports. I love my Bleacher Report. I like looking at the comments. But
like CNN viewers
fans,
are
by
dumb.
and large,
MSNBC viewers are dumb. CNN, CBS viewers are
gullible.
dumb.
The gullible.
Anybody watching the leftist lying media and not recognizing that it's pure trash, pure Democrat Party propaganda, full of lies and deceit, collateral damage everywhere, destructive to America. All of the lying legacy media viewers are dumb and gullible too. Like, it's obvious what they're doing. So it's not just sports fans. Sports fans can be. We're not just troglodytes. Have I said that word twice today? I don't know. I think I heard it somewhere.
I like my sports too. Don't get me wrong. I was saying, by and large, when I look at the comment section of any sports stories, I rarely go, "Oh wow, that was some really insightful commentary." From that guy." No, it's usually, that person sucks. You know, it's just like really simple stuff.
I read the same comments on MSNBC sites too. I'm just saying. I see the same, mouth breathing, backwoods bullcrap from them that I am on the sports page. I'm defending my sports people for a second, but I take your point. But yeah, I mean, and Keith is also saying there was a bad reflection with Damar Hamlin as well. But yeah, I mean, we posted it. Keith loves posting this stuff. And I love that Keith posts it, by the way, because let's talk. I want to talk about whatever people are talking about. That's it. A share is never an endorsement. It's just, here's what's going on. Let's talk about it. But yeah, I mean, people got so angry. Like that author that said, the dumbest people or this stupid conspiracy, whatever that headline was. It's like, bro, they did that to themselves. The NFL created that by not giving you that 6-second soundbite, that 8-second soundbite. Have 200 takes to do it. It'd be easy to do. Easy. They did. Damar Hamlin created it by saying clone. What in the world? Why would you pick that? Why would you pick that one word to just put there if you weren't trying to like further that silliness? So I refuse to be gaslit by morons and nincompoops. There you go. No troglodytes. The title of today's episode is called Troglodytes and Nincompoops.
I love it. That's great.
Yes. Okay. Final story, Blake. We had one more that we were going to touch on for Blake's Takes, and we are going to call it a day. Another successful show.
Yeah. I don't have a ton of talk about, but we got to run our graph. I got one job, and let me try to.
You had one job, Blake.
But do we have an agree to disagree question on this? Did you make a lower thirds on this one? Because it's going to be.
No, I didn't make a lower thirds, but I want to learn about this a little bit, and we can cover it in more detail as we learn a little bit more. But if it's something interesting, let's get the basics. Let's put it on the radar, and it'll give us some time between next show, allegedly on Thursday, maybe at 3:00 Eastern. We'll try to dig in a little deeper, but this is about Hamilton 68. Hamilton 68.
Yeah, it's this group put together to tell everybody that they're Russian disinformation. So Matt Taibbi has been doing the Twitter files, and this was the latest revelation. Actually, it's been a couple of them. So where they've been pushing this Russian hoax, and they get this elite group of people called Hamilton 68, and they identify who all of the Russian colluders are on Twitter or what have you. But the MSNBCs and all the liberal media, quotes like, well, according to it's like, quoting Snopes or PolitiFact or some of these biased organizations and saying, oh yeah, they're really credible. They're saying that this person's a Russian spy and a Russian bot. So just ignore anything that comes out of them because they're compromised. So I'll just run some of this. Let me grab a quick screen share so I can pop this on if this will work. This is out of Natural News. The highly quoted Russian hacker known as Hamilton 68 is just a big hoax. Not quite sure. So the latest dump of Twitter files revealed one of the more highly cited sources to prove Russia and Donald Trump colluded during the 2016 election to steal it from nominee Hillary Clinton is nothing more than elaborate deep state hoax.
They were the ones spying on Trump. They were the ones colluding to destroy Russia with Ukraine and the money laundering. They project everything that they are onto President Trump.
Yep. Yeah, it's exactly. And so now this whole thing is starting to collapse their whole narrative. So the website claims to monitor a secret list of Twitter accounts. I think they had like 600 people accused of like being under the Kremlin. And so it's a computerized dashboard designed by reporters and academics to measure the Russian disinformation being spread online. It is the brainchild of former FBI agent and current MSNBC disinformation expert Clint Watts, backed by the German Marshall Fund and the Alliance of Securing Democracy, bipartisan think tank. It's also got a former acting CIA chief, Michael Burrell, Michael McFaul, former ambassador, and of course, John Podesta, Pito Podesta, and one-time Weekly Standard editor, the neocon arch nemesis Bill Kristol. So these people put together in the big secret think tank, and they smear all of their enemies as being Russian disinformation agents, and all the major news organizations in America, NBC, CBS, ABC, PBS, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, Mother Jones.
Mother Jones.
And
Snopes.
Yeah. Well, according to Hamilton 68, we can dismiss that because they must be Russian disinformation.
So was that like the 68 former retired Alphabet Agency people that lied to the American public before the 2020 election that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation? Is that what the 68 refers to? Is that the number of people?
It's got something to do with the Federalist Papers as by former President Hamilton.
What would Alexander Hamilton think about the deep state today? What do you think Hamilton would have to say about all this?
Well, he was I would assume the forefathers would be, well, that would be an argument against, right? Because he was one calling for a bigger federal government, and some of the other, like Madison and what have you, wanted a smaller government and not have more state-centric rather than just a giant federal. There's a lot of things that they talked about when they, formed this country, but that would be a reason why we don't want the big federal government is because they get out of control. And you give them too much money. But it's also the same thing Eisenhower warned us, with the military-industrial complex or what have you. These huge federal agencies, or even Homeland Security, the Patriot Act, all of these things, and they get out of control and they start abusing their power. And now they're smearing their opposition, and looks like it was all just perpetuating a giant hoax.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is, and it's great to see that this is all being exposed now. That Elon has taken over Twitter, and he's been showing the internal documents of these agencies, trying to go after, talk to Twitter and get people behind the scenes and Twitter. These people either or suspend them or shadow ban them, because they're spreading Russian information. Are they really spreading Russian disinformation? And it appears not. It appears to be coming from the Podesta camp or Bill Kristol or these other awful deep state. So, yeah, interesting how things change.
Yeah, it sure is. By the way, Keith is saying he wonders what Hamilton thinks about that stupid musical. Have you seen Hamilton, Blake?
I have not. No.
Ah, okay. Look, I will differ with Keith here. I love the Hamilton musical. Love it. I think it's excellent.
All right.
I think it's worth watching, and then I think it's worth watching again with the subtitles on. Just soak it up and enjoy it, then watch it with the sub. There's good writing. There's a lot of good writing, and it's just well done.
I watch almost everything with subtitles now. I don't make sure I don't miss anything.
I do too. I find it. Is it because our hearing is turned to shit, or is it because
I saw an article? It's a very complex question with the way that they run things, because you can get I can hear things better when I'm at the theater when they've got like 7.1 surround sound and all that. But I think once they scale everything down, I actually read a really good article about that with like a sound engineer talking about how once they filter it down to where it's you can consume it at home, that the audio gets kind of messed up, or depending on what kind of system you have to run things. But I'm also a person who does not understand lyrics in songs, like unless it's karaoke or something like that. Or whereas some people can sing along with it right away. It's like how do they do that? It's like sorcery to me. But
so yeah, I mean, I've been a musician my whole life, so I mean that's definitely in my wheelhouse, I suppose. But yeah, I find that fascinating. You have a hard time understanding lyrics. Is there a favorite lyric that you misunderstood? There's one that comes to mind with me, and you see these websites, and if you just put a post out and here's your mission, should you choose to accept it, Blake, go on your Facebook and go, what's a musical lyric that you misunderstood? And just read the hilarious response. Everybody hears weird shit, and it's so funny to hear what they say.
Yeah, because when I sing along with a song in my head, or I'm thinking, oh yeah, I gotta do this, and then like I'll have this thing for years. Like I'll think it's a certain way, and then by the time I go to a karaoke bar and someone sings it, I'm like, wow, that is totally different. And now it almost kind of like ruins the song for me, because I'm always kind of improvising
to know what it really is
for what I think they're saying. So usually that I don't want to hear the lyrics, because most of the time it's just going to be disappointing, and it's going to make the song worse.
Well, I know Pearl Jam was interviewed, and there's probably a lot of artists that have said something similar, but I just remember Eddie Vedder asked about, maybe it was for Jeremy, Jeremy about a kid going to class and, the whole thing, that video. It might have been Jeremy, but let's just say a Pearl Jam song. And Eddie Vedder was asked, what does this song mean? And he said, it means whatever you want it to mean. I mean, I wrote it with stuff in mind, but if you're relating to it on a level, why would I take that away from you? If you're finding some way to incorporate this song into something you're feeling, that's what it means. And I'm not going to tell you what it meant to me, because then that would take away from what it means to you. And I thought that was a bullshit answer and a great answer. It was kind of like flip a coin. On the different day, I'll heads, tails. I like the answer and I hate the answer. It's kind of both. I remember a bartender I worked with back in the day, and she had an AC/DC song. It was Dirty Deeds. Do you remember that song? Dirty Deeds. Yeah.
That's huge.
And she always heard it as Dirty Deeds and a Thunder Cheeks. Thunder Cheeks. She heard instead of Done Dirt Cheap, she heard Thunder Cheeks. And then mine was like, rags to riches, or so they say, you gotta keep pushing for a punch in the face. But it was Fortune and Fame. But I heard Punch in the Face with Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, no, it's tough without the lyrics in front of you. I have no idea. I'm lost on that. Yeah, it's weird how that works. But I think they say that people that are more of a concrete way of thinking if you understand the lyrics. But if you don't and you just hear the music mostly, then you're more intuitive.
Say that again. If you hear them, how did you
hear them? Different people hear different things, but it's usually kind of breaks into two categories. People that really understand the lyrics, they have a more of a concrete, understanding of, or the way that they see things in life, but you're more intuitive if you hear mostly the music. I'll have to find that article up.
Yeah, tweet that out at us. Where do people find you on Twitter, Blake? Tell people where they can find you real quick. By the way, Frank,
Yeah.
I asked you the question. I said it backwards. I apologize. Stephanie Jackson, she's also saying,
Hello.
I'm sorry, Frankie Brown is saying that she's also using subtitles now as well. I mean,
think
everything I watch is subtitles.
Yeah, I read this article. Happened to run across it, but they did a great job breaking it down. And it's very extensive, all of the different reasons that go into it, because it didn't used to always be like that. And depending on the microphone, and they're just showing old Hollywood and with the boom mics and the way that they set up and the way that they would talk, and then where they put the music tracks in, and then there's so much that goes into it. So, but yeah, they found that a lot of people use the subtitles now because I miss stuff. I hear stuff like, what did they say? And I got to repeat it. And finally just
got to rewind it. It's like, oh God.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't like about subtitles is when, I'm trying to soak in the performance of the actor or actress, and it's distracting when I can see the full line of what they're about to say before I get to watch them deliver it. It's almost as frustrating as when you're trying to karaoke a song that but you can't close your eyes and sing it. Like, it in context and some of the key phrases, but like you need to fill in the blanks a little bit. Like, all right, what's the third line in the second verse? I don't know what that, but you read it, and you can go, you follow the bouncing ball, and you read the lyrics. I hate when you go to karaoke and there's like a delay to the point where the lyrics, when you have to be singing the line, but it's still a blank screen, and they haven't added that next line for you, so you're constantly behind the song. So I'm at the point where I grab my phone and I pull up the lyrics and I hold my phone and I have the lyrics in my hand, so I'm not waiting for the bouncing ball, because it's almost like 1 out of 2 times that the timing is off. It should be a second or two
karaoke.
Before.
Yeah.
I've done a few. I've done a few.
All right, yeah. Well, so we gotta wrap it up here pretty soon.
A question from Stephanie. I said last call for questions, and Stephanie Jackson wants to know, who do you guys see winning the presidential race?
Ooh, it's a very good question. It is definitely.
Are we talking about in Nicaragua?
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here, for your support, joining the show. We're going to definitely do this Tuesday, Thursday, and we'll see if we can add more days. We'll work in progress, but we'll do a couple hour and a half shows. But depending on how things go and how much time we have, but appreciate that. U.S. race, Brian. So what do you think? Presidential, what are you going to go for 2024? You want to answer this, or should I?
Yeah, and that would be thanking Stephanie for saying she's enjoying the show, guys, and that we've got to do this more often. So yes, that is the plan. The USA race. Yes, I know. I was just kidding about Nicaragua. I don't even know who's in Nicaragua. Although I think I said that because I saw a post today that you could buy an island in Nicaragua for $475,000, an entire island, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It has internet, it has electricity, it has this, that, and the other, and $475,000. You can't get a condo for that in a lot of places. So I'm thinking about moving to although it might get expensive to pay the mercenaries in your own militia to defend yourself against a rogue backwoods banana republic bullshit dictator, but I digress. Okay, so the Nicaragua election, let's see. I am begging Ron DeSantis to not screw this up and enter the race. I am begging you, do not do it. For the love of God, don't declare a civil war in the Republican Party. Wait your turn. You got 4 years, pal. Just wait your turn. This is not your turn. Please don't do this, because I'm hearing more than ever that he's ready to announce. Fucking Ron, don't do it. Don't do it. So I don't know who's going to win the presidential race, but my God, I see DeSantis screwing it all up if he enters the fray. And on the Democrat side, I mean, Biden should be in jail, or he's declining so rapidly. He might not be with us in physical form much longer. He should be in jail or in the ground in 2 years. Hopefully, I don't care where you go. what is it? Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I mean, I'd like to see him in jail. That would be fine. I mean, all of this
Right.
quid pro quo Joe stuff in Ukraine. I don't know who the Democrats are going to run. So it's so hypothetical. Is it Gavin Newsom? Is it going to be Kamala Harris? I mean, I never thought Biden and his creepy pedo touching kids. For 100 reasons, I never thought there was any way that could have happened. And here we are. I'm supposed to believe that was a legit election. Okay. So there's so many wild cards.
Quite the long answer, Brian.
I'm filibustering, sir.
Yeah,
I am
I'm
filibustering. I do want to answer that lady's question. I don't know. I think President Trump will win a second term. Blake, what say you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that too. I want to see him finish the job, unless somebody else emerges. But I think if we get Trump or DeSantis, I think that's still covers it. And I don't really see anybody from the Democrats coming that's going to appeal to me. So I don't know who they're going to put. Yeah, whether it's Gavin Newsom or I'm going to mess his name up again. Haywood Jeffries.
Haywood, you blow me?
No, Jeff.
Haywood. Gordon Hayward?
Hakeem Jeffries, right. So it'll probably
Haywood Jeffries, the wide receiver,
right,
for the Oilers.
Yeah, back in the old 90s. So yeah, that's. I mean, I'd love to see a strong Democrat emerge. Unless I don't think Tulsi Gabbard already left the Democrats, right? So
why would you want to see a strong Democrat emerge?
If somebody could take over the Democrat and bring them back into sanity again.
No, they are beyond.
They're gone. They're going to have to be wiped out. But I'm saying if we could get I'd love to be in a position where it didn't matter again.
Because it's not about the Democrats. It's about the deep state. They run the Democrat Party. They run the lying legacy media. It's the deep state, the Democrats, and the lying media. They are the same thing.
Yep.
It's one ball of shit. That you can't unscramble those eggs. They're scrambled together.
Right, but it was a big ball of shit with Jeb Bush, and then Trump emerged victorious off of all of the other 17.
And look what they did to
Romneys and stuff like that. So the Republican Party has been transformed. But
did they though? They just nominated.
Maybe in 2028, the Democrats will get their shit. Well, I don't know what they'll be like. They'll be totally different. But they're not going to have anybody ready by 2024. It'll be Gavin Newsom or Hakeem Jeffries, and those are not viable candidates. So I could live with either Trump or DeSantis.
I like Ron DeSantis, and I want to vote for him twice. Twice in 6 years. Not now. If you do this now, my promise to you, Ron DeSantis, and I'm drawing a line in the sand here. I don't know how many people are going to say this. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say it. God Almighty, am I what I want to say? And I've because I couldn't imagine voting against Ron DeSantis because he's been great in theory.
I was going to say, what if Trump loses the primary? You're going to not vote for DeSantis? If it's DeSantis against Hakeem Jeffries, do you really hate DeSantis that much? I mean, I don't like the people behind him. I don't like the neocons.
I would never forgive DeSantis for taking away Trump's second term. He was completely robbed of his second term. All of the lies, all of the impeachment, all of the cover-ups, everything the deep state wanted, all the Russia hoaxes.
It's not his fault. So he's supposed to stand there and say, well, I better not run because let Trump finish the job. Well, I think Trump,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he should. Yeah, he should.
Well, fine. That's a good answer. All right. So
I think
Trump.
Yeah, and we'll have plenty more time to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I'm very close to saying that if he enters this race, I'll never vote for him. I will never forgive him doing this because this is Trump's time. And he needs to know his time. He needs to know his role.
Trump is going to be older too, man. All right.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he gave us a track record of what to expect.
Hey, he's been great. I think, I look, no objection from me, but I'll go for either one of those.
Did Trump announce a vice president on his ticket yet?
No, I don't think so.
No, DeSantis should be his VP. DeSantis should be the VP, and he should learn on the global stage and just take the torch, light it, and move along. He could easily win 2 straight terms if he just serves in this administration. Don't screw this up with a Republican Civil War, DeSantis. I am begging you / warning you. Do not do it. It is going to be the worst thing for the party that you could imagine. That's my yeah, Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake may be his VP. Why can't Arizona press pause and say, none of this. What's taking so long in Arizona? Are they going to let that slide too with that Katie Hobbs lady?
Hey, though,
I'm in charge.
remember, that's not the subject we can talk about on YouTube here. But yeah, it's not over yet.
Dude, I've been demonetized. I've been
I
shadow
hear you.
banned. All
Okay.
of it.
Right. I don't want to have to remove the video. I got you. I'm just as frustrated with all that stuff too. But they just do not have any. It's a heavy-handed boom. I do not want any strikes on my channel right now, so I'm not going there. So you do that on your channel.
What did I say though?
Right.
I didn't go.
I hear you. No, I know. I don't want to touch that one right now. So that's one thing I cannot discuss on this. Even the guy, well, whatever. I'm not going to mention some of that stuff.
This social media tyranny not allowing us to have free speech is.
I don't like Katie Hobbs. I like Carrie Lake.
Katie Hobbs. How can you run an election that you're also in? If you don't recuse yourself, you have to recuse yourself. And if you don't, isn't that right? I that doesn't make a lick of sense to me either. But anyway, Stephanie's saying Carrie Lake might be his VP. And I said that at the time. If she somehow was prohibited from becoming the governor of Arizona, and we'll see how this shakes out, it should go right to the Supreme Court. I don't know. Do courts even look at these things anymore? Like, we just accept all of these results? Like, you don't double check? Everything should be double checked everywhere.
Oh, I agree. But
if she is kept out of that position in Arizona, that might be the worst thing that could possibly happen for the Democrats, because she would make an awesome vice president. She's one of the best candidates I've ever seen. One of the best I've ever seen. Just very clear speaker, right? Like, kind of spot on with most of the issues too. But yeah, Carrie could be a good VP. And Frankie's agreeing with me, saying Brian's right, Blake.
If that's what she's referencing, but yeah, no,
I don't know what she's referencing.
I'll agree. Carrie's a great candidate. I think, yeah, it'd be perfect. I don't think that DeSantis and Trump ain't going to work together. I think
why?
As a VP? No, there's just way too much of a clash there of two huge alphas.
Hold on. Are you saying that
they're not going to work together? DeSantis is not going to be Trump's bitch. Just get it through your head. He's not going to go sit there and have Trump run over him. And they're going to have so many problems with the people internally. There's going to be a civil war with the Republican Party. We already had enough problems with Trump and all of the bad staffers that he had around him. Well, what's going to happen when DeSantis is there? They're going to undo Trump. There's going to be nothing but problems and drama. You can't have the two alphas like that working together.
Question.
Yeah.
Why would somebody serving as vice president be labeled a bitch?
Because they've already got some bad attack. So you think Trump's not going to rub it in his face? And you think DeSantis is going to sit there? They're two very powerful people.
DeSantis is needed in Florida. He's doing great in Florida.
Exactly.
Continue padding the resume.
Why is he going to be Trump's bitch in D.C.?
Bitch, there's one vice president in the United States. That's like you're the second in power. You're like, you were the second in charge. Like, should anything happen to this old man, you have a youthful, experienced person where they overlap on 90-something% of the major issues.
Yeah. On
you're
paper,
going to keep
it's great. In reality, it's not going to work. I don't think.
I disagree. I think that's the move, and I think DeSantis would be.
On there.
Yes, we can agree to disagree. That's a perfect place to end this show. Back to what I tried asking you before the comments came in. Would you kindly tell people where they could follow you on social media?
Twitter would be the best place. TV's Blake Wally. And I'll leave it at that because I got a lot of work to do on the other platforms. So Twitter, that's one place you can always get caught up until I get my website back in order. So TV's Blake Wally. And I'll see you there. Follow me there. Thank you.
Yes, do that.
Thank you, everybody.
My website needs some work. It's thenewamericanmedia.com, but it has, 10, 11 years of archived content to scroll through. YouTube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Once again, 10, 11 years of content there. Where else do I want to tell? Instagram, The New American Media, because the old American media has failed us. On Twitter, we're at American_media_. We're starting to tweet a little bit more often there now. Now that Elon bought it and you can permission to speak freely. Okay, well, good. It's back to the internet I remember. This age of the internet censorship is just trash. It's just, if we lose the right to talk, we've lost it all. And I just have to rail against it. I've already been demonetized and shadow banned. I used to make revenue off the YouTube channel. Fuck YouTube. I can't stand these companies. Can't stand them, but I digress. Blake occasionally pulls me out. I thought I was out, and then he pulled me back in.
Whatever. This time I was trying to talk you out of it.
You tried to talk me out of it this time.
This time I was like, I don't even know. Should we even start doing more shows, or is it a lost cause? Like humanity's just fucked. Right.
Well, I said something similar, something very similar to former Libertarian presidential candidate John McAfee. I remember we did a show. What was it, about Vault 7 maybe? And it was called The CIA Just Got Nuked, I think.
Yeah.
And I to paraphrase, I just said something along the lines of like, I don't know, man. I don't like being lied to. I don't like people forcing lies and bullshit and harming society. And I see a lot of this globalist stuff is really detrimental, really harmful. And I said, I have one life to live while I'm here. And when I pass from this experience to the next, if there is a next, if I have to answer for my actions or inactions here, I just want to look at the Creator, whether that's looking into a mirror or looking into the eyes of a 400-foot God. I just want to say that I tried. And so I open up the news. I see what's going on. I try to discuss it. I try to cover the most important stories and let the chips fall where they may. Because if we lose a free and open internet, we're toast, man. If we lose the First Amendment, we're toast. If we lose the Second Amendment, we're toast. If we lose the electrical grid, like there are so many things that are just complete game changers. And the Democrats, the lying legacy media, the deep state, they are just rabid, frothing at the mouth to just destroy all that is good. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I'm here to be against it. So here I am. And that is not a sweeping endorsement of the Republican Party by any stretch. Because Blake, I was trying to say this, but you were continued talking. I didn't want to interrupt. But you saw the Republican Party just nominated that same lady again, right? That same lady that doesn't like the base to head the RNC.
Cons, right? Yeah, I got you.
I mean, so
the establishment rhinos, they're still there.
Yeah, and there's concerns about Ronnie. A couple concerns about Ronnie. We'll see about that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see the Republican Civil War. We'll end on that. I sure hope Ronnie doesn't.
Get ready. Yeah.
No, Blake, it would be the worst thing.
It doesn't matter. As long as the Republicans win, they put a viable candidate in and they beat the Democrats, it doesn't matter.
It does matter. And here's why it matters. I'll final point.
We got another 20-minute rant. All right, go ahead.
Excuse me. Now I'm on my soapbox. No. I've never seen anybody so falsely attacked, maliciously and venomously attacked than President Trump. I've never seen so many lies, so many attacks go after somebody. I'm defending him. I don't like what they did to him. I am resentful over how he was treated, and I'm going to back him because what they did to him and what they did to prop this Biden guy up who's getting us involved in pseudo nuclear war without anybody voting for it, all of his money laundering in Ukraine, all the crimes with his crackhead son, all the touching of kids. Like the Bidens are the fucking worst. And they took Trump out through COVID, through everything imaginable, all of the Russian hoaxes, lying about drinking bleach. These people had severe Trump derangement syndrome for 6 years, dude. No. I will not reward their behavior by bailing on him now. I am 100% in, even though him working with the vaccine company, that there's some suspect things there, some of the bump stock bullshit. So Trump's not perfect. I've never seen a perfect presidential candidate, but he's kind of done some of the best stuff I've ever seen from a politician in the 42 years I've been around. So I'm backing him. I am not going to reward their bullshit behavior by turning on him now. Oh, he's so toxic. No, you're toxic, deep state. You're toxic, left-wing media. Democrats, you're toxic. I will vote against you forever. I will turn off your programming forever. I will not spend money at your crappy companies ever. I'm not rewarding him. I'm all in on Trump for those reasons. I will give you the final word, Blake. Final word.
That's it. I'm going to go with whoever. I want to see the Republicans destroy themselves. I want something to talk about next year. I think it's going to be awesome. So we'll see.
And
hopefully Trump emerges victorious. takes it and wins and gets to finish out his business, and then we go from there. And then maybe if DeSantis or somebody else good, I hope the Democrats. Well, no, forget it. I'm not. They're probably a lost cause. So we're not. Leave it at that. So
All
Trump
right.
2024.
Okay.
Thank you,
Well
everybody.
then, yeah, I guess we'll plan on. I guess this is getting a little more settled in with something stable. So you're thinking Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, perhaps?
That would be good. Yeah, we can squeeze.
We'll aim for right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly it's going to go, but yeah, definitely a little earlier than later. Just trying to figure out a way that works with my schedule and won't have anything interfering with it. So I think, yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, 3 Eastern would be the most ideal time. We'll see if we can commit to that for as long as we can. But if not, we'll change things around or try to keep everybody updated on what we're doing. But yeah, was this like our 4th episode? We had a couple practice.
Yeah, we've had a few, and we still need to like turn them into podcast form and just put it up. I haven't done it yet. I know it's probably on my plate, but I haven't gotten.
Well, hopefully, I
around
can
to
teach
doing
you how to do that or something. Well, I'm moving. I've been very busy the last few days trying to get resettled in my new, everything. So hopefully, it'll get better from here, and I'll have more time to devote to the website and the podcasting and the production and all of that stuff. We shall see. Take it one show at a time. And that's all we can do. But thank you, everybody. It's been great to see all of you. And I look forward to doing more. All right.
I enjoy it. I like all the interaction. I like the comments. I like the questions. I like the banter. It's good. I like the user interface here. I'm getting used to. I'm quickly used to it.
Welcome back. All right.
I've missed it.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time. I appreciate you guys. Take care.
Peace. Later.